I make 'em go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. 'Cause I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Fill your tank. Don't drain your wallet. Sam's Club lets you save time at the pump with Scan and Go checkout at Sam's Club fuel stations. Just scan the QR code on the pump and pay. Visit your local Sam's Club today.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
I don't really invite people over to my house, so why don't I just go look at it myself? Like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? Walk into a trophy room and be like, oh, look how great I am. You know what I mean? I think I was just raised to think that way, and it's kind of stuck. Like, my wife hung up some pictures of me in my gym of me winning the Olympic medal, and she put it so high up I can't reach it, and I have to get a ladder now, and it bothers me.
What would you rather be up on the wall?
Photo of my dogs or a clock, maybe. I'm always late, so maybe a clock would be good for me.
It's the Adam Gold Show. What's going on, everybody? I am him. Victoria producing the program. We're on YouTube.
I am she.
You are she. That's right. Those are giving you our pronouns.
Yep.
We're on YouTube. YouTube.com. Then you search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. Gets you to the same place. You can reach us on Twitter at @AGoldFan, at @V_2_the_Victoria.
Yes, you got it. It just rolls off the tongue now.
I know it. I know it. And we'll do one-timers later. You can always put your questions in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. That's where Victoria gets some from. Some she just makes up out of whole cloth, and that's cool.
Yep.
And I don't know. Others are staged. They're not. We don't do that. In fact, I think most people know that I'm not going to say there's no plan. We have a plan.
Yeah. It's
sort of.
There's a outline.
I have thoughts.
Yes.
I have thoughts in my head, and we get them out
in different forms.
If we can in 3 hours. We're going to talk a little bit about the All-Star game coming to Charlotte, Major League Soccer All-Star game next year. We'll do that a little bit later on. We'll talk some NFL football with our friend Ryan Wilson of CBS. And Mike Maniscalco is going to stop by.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about the Hurricane schedule. I gave you some particulars of the schedule yesterday, but if you're unaware, the NHL spit out the whole schedule yesterday. At 1 o'clock, it dropped. Now, we knew earlier in the week, actually, I think it was maybe even over the weekend, that the first, we had a 3-day or 3-game start to the season on October 7th. That, I believe, is a Tuesday. And that would give us Florida-Chicago in Game 1 with Pittsburgh and the Rangers, a battle of two teams that are not going to make the playoffs, in Game 2, and Colorado at Los Angeles in Game 3. So, hey, as Hurricanes fans, if you want to watch Martin Necas, Jack Drury, and Brent Burns open up the season and feel, close to the action, there you go. But the Hurricanes open up against the Devils at Lenovo Center on Thursday the 9th. And we gave you some particulars. The Hurricanes have that 6-game deep-fried road trip that starts like the 13th or so. I have it in front of me. Why guess when it's the schedule is right in front of me. The 14th, Tuesday the 14th in San Jose, and they do not play again at home until the 28th of October.
That's a stretch.
And I've talked to Rod Brittamore about this before. He would prefer when they do their road trips to have their road trips kind of like concentrated. A back-to-back here and then a day off and another game and then maybe even come home. But That ain't going to happen because they are, after the game against Philadelphia on Saturday, the second game of the season, Saturday, October 11th, they get 2 days off before playing in San Jose on the 14th, and then they play every other day except there's a 2-day break in between the 4th and 5th games of the road trip, but they're not close enough to coming home. So they go from San Jose to Anaheim to L.A. to Vegas to Colorado. So you're not coming home.
No.
From Vegas, even though you get 2 days off. Then they close up the road trip in Dallas. Then they have 2 more days off. So it's a long time away from home. I can tell you this definitively because during the season I talk to Rod before every game. I will promise you that by the last conversation, it might even be before then, Rod will be in no mood.
Yeah.
He will want no part of talking to me like before the game in Colorado.
Right.
I don't care. I'm going to ask him questions about. He's like, I don't care. I don't care.
Right.
I just want to be home.
I just want to be in the
He won't act that way, but I can tell.
Eastern time zone again.
I can tell he just wants to be home.
Yeah.
He hates being away that long.
Yeah.
And then somebody will ask him, is it good to get away? Is it good to have a road trip?
No.
No, I mean, whatever. The guys get together. They spend all their time with each other anyway. So anyway, that's a pretty long time to be away from home. It's not a great road trip. And then the Hurricanes are home for a couple of games before heading back out on the road. Either way, so we talked about some of the particulars of the road trip. And we'll talk about this with Mike Maniscalco in the third hour. But one more quick thing. The Hurricanes will welcome the Colorado Avalanche on January 3rd. So that, assuming that there aren't deals made between now and then, Natchez, Drury, Burns will come back to Lenovo Center for the first time. I think we'll get videos, we'll get tributes to all three. Certainly Natchez, but
Yes.
Burns as well. And my hope, and I trust that the organization does have a sense of humor, we simply play a montage of all the Jack Drury goals that were chalked off.
Yes, reversed.
For goaltender interference. Don't talk to me about offside. Don't ruin the joke.
Mm-hmm.
Because offside is clear. Goaltender interference is a mood.
Yeah,
it's a vibe.
It is a
We
vibe.
have no idea what it is. Offside, we can tell. That's linear. We get it. But Drury's had like 5 goals taken away.
Oh, yeah.
For
It's insane.
goaltender interference,
Yeah.
including one in the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah.
So I hope we just get a montage of all the Jack Drury goals that were called back.
We should.
And he would appreciate it. It is the only time I ever made Jack Drury laugh.
Oh, was that
Yeah.
referencing that? Nice.
Absolutely. I thought I did an interview once with him once where I thought I was going to get him joking around about Seth Jarvis, but he was dead serious. Because Jarvis used to wear the Harvard.
He did.
How we got the
Or
Jarvard
does.
thing, right?
Yes.
He used to wear Drury. Drury gave him a Harvard T-shirt, and Seth wore it. I mean, Seth. He didn't go to Harvard. He didn't go to college.
not.
He was, he's a junior hockey player. I'm not saying he's not smart,
Right.
but he didn't
just
go
didn't
to Harvard, right? So I joked with Jack about Seth. Well, he was smart enough to go. He goes, "Oh yeah, he's very smart." Just dead serious. I don't know if he was serious or not, but he was he deadpanned it.
Yeah.
But at the end of that conversation, I asked him if do you know you lead the league in goals wiped off the board?
Yeah. And he got a chuckle.
He laughed and told me a story about how when he was at Harvard, in sort of a leadership role on his college team, he had a guy, a teammate, who had a goal wiped off the board. And Jack said, you just got to learn to deal with it. He goes, so I'm getting paid back.
There you go.
Was really good, but he laughed the whole thing. So
That
anyway,
is funny.
Drury will come back. And then a couple of games later, they actually make a trip to New Jersey, I believe. They play Dallas on the 6th of January. And that, of course, will be the first game for Mikko Rantanen here.
Oh, boy. That'll be fun.
I wonder if they'll treat him like Eric Holla.
They're not saying moose. Let's just say that.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Let's play.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it
All right.
started. Let's get it started.
So let's get to a few. First of all, the Open Championship is going on. The reason. Now, there's a lot of reasons why I love this Open, but for me, it's two things that make it my favorite favorite major to watch. The style of golf for me is just super enjoyable because we don't see it in the United States at all. There are places you can go which sort of simulate links-style golf. Now, you can, if you've got the means, like on the coast of, like, the tip of Long Island, there are places where you can simulate links golf. Sort of similar, but not the same. Anyway, it's you just see things that you would never see in the United States at an Open Championship. You see terrain, colors, also, I don't know, foliage, like ground cover.
Right.
You see things you will never see in the United States. I love that. I also love the fact that when you get up, it's on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got up super early today, and it was on.
Yeah.
I got up just before 5, and boom,
Yep.
there we go.
Golf before barn duties.
It was on, right. So that's another reason I love it so much.
Wasn't it raining last year, too?
It always
I was
rains.
going to say, I feel like this is just a regular thing.
It always does. The summer in the UK,
So
it's
depressing.
I don't know. They deal with it.
It's like Seattle, I guess.
It's a little bit. I mean, but it's awesome. Absolutely love the Open Championship. Matt Fitzpatrick, Hatong Lee, an Olesen, a Dane, is leading at 4 under. Scotty Scheffler birdied 2 of his last 3 holes to get to 3 under par. Let's see who else is up there. Lucas Glover is up there at 3 under. Rory McIlroy's been kind of all over the place. He's not driving it well, but I believe he is 1 under par through 6 holes, something like that. I don't know. It's just been it's been fun. It's been, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on. All right. I know there's been some talk about Major League Baseball expansion. Rob Manfred talked about it at the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. We're going to hear about it here in a second from Adam Silver of the NBA as they contemplate whether or not they should expand. The NBA is at 30 teams. Major League Baseball is at 30 teams. NHL and the National Football League each 32. NHL is also talking about expanding again. 32 seems a lot. But whatever. I mean, if you have places that want a franchise and you can support it as a league, then by all means, I'm not saying we shouldn't have, like, I don't know, have 50 teams. I don't really care. I mean, as many teams as the league can support, more teams, you're splitting the television contract more ways. So you're going to have to cover that, media outlay. Anyway, so I talked about it with Elliot Johnson the other day about where should Major League Baseball expand. Nashville's going to get one, and I know Raleigh would like one. And whether or not Raleigh gets one, I would love it. I'm not sure we have the individual / corporate wealth to handle it, but I don't make those decisions, and I won't say no if they want to come here. I would be all about it. I do wonder if we're going to see some international expansion, whether it's another team in Canada, and I know Montreal wants a team. Elliot was like, nope, they've already had their chance. Washington had 2 chances at a Major League Baseball team, and this is their 3rd. The first Senators became the Twins. The second Senators became the Rangers. And now we've got the Nationals. It's like, you know what? Let's not call them the Senators this time. It didn't work. So it wouldn't be the first time we have seen a city get a second crack at a team. Milwaukee got a second crack. They had the Braves first. Now they have the Brewers. It's going fairly well. I mean, it's not gangbusters, but it's a good franchise. Anyway, so I wouldn't rule out Montreal because of that. Can they fill the ballpark? Is there interest? Had they not had the player strike in 94, sorry, it was a player strike lock, whatever it was, we don't even remember. Had they not lost the end of the 94 season, Montreal was the best team in baseball. They could have they could have very well won the World Series, and now we're not even talking. We might be talking about the Nationals, but that would have been either a different franchise or an expansion team. Montreal had they won, because they were awesome. Go look it up. Montreal was really good. And leading up to it in 94. So that's just, I think Montreal will someday get another crack at it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a franchise in Mexico. As for the NBA, Adam Silver knows that there are places that would like an NBA team. Will Seattle get another crack at the NBA?
Was that a pun? Not really pun? Seattle Kraken?
Oh, no, I didn't. It was not. Unintentional. I'm glad you were right on it, though. So you take credit for it.
Okay.
All right, so here's Adam Silver and his message to those who want one.
We have internally been looking at, I think, some of the obvious data that we had in front of us, but I think the next step is looking at specific markets, understanding what the opportunities in those markets are, understanding the facilities that are available to us to play in, understanding the level of interest from local businesses, understanding the overall appetite, in those markets that are expressing interest to us. And by the way, I don't mean to be glib about this. I mean, you're obviously here as a representative of Seattle. I was at the league office when we were operating in Seattle. We have a WNBA team there. It's an incredible market. I wish standing here as the commissioner, I had lots of teams to dispense to many different markets who are interested in NBA basketball. I just think we also have this greater obligation to expand, if we do so in a very deliberate fashion, in a way that makes sense holistically for the league.
All right, so the NFL has often talked about a future franchise in London, which frankly doesn't make sense if you're only going to have one. Can't have a team. I mean, honestly, that in some ways that would be like having an NFL team in Hawaii. I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't support it there, but it would be kind of unfair for every road trip, right, to be a 5-hour flight, every single one, minimum. I mean, forget about if you played on the West Coast of the United States. But what does Adam Silver think about European expansion?
There's an expansion of another kind we're talking about, which is a European opportunity. Now, what Mark Tatum is here, the deputy commissioner, he presented on that. That would be an independent league, what we're contemplating operating in Europe. But the fact that we would be creating new basketball teams in Europe is related. It's separate but related to this notion around building additional organizations in the league. So those are all things that we're in the process of talking about. As I said, a lot of analysis still needs to be done, and nothing's been predetermined one way or the other, and without any specific timeline. I mean, we're going to be as thorough as possible and look at all the potential issues.
That would be interesting because we have very popular and vibrant European leagues. Not all of them. There are situations where players don't get paid. Certainly not on time. But there are, Spain's got a great league. Italy's league is really good. The French league is good. There are really good international leagues. The Israeli league is excellent. But what the NBA is discussing there is the potential for starting like a G League Europe. And I wonder how that would be received by the other European leagues. Probably not very well. One more thing from Adam Silver. What goes through the process about whether the NBA decides to expand?
Expansion was discussed both at a committee level and at the board, and ultimately the league office was tasked by our board with doing an in-depth analysis of all the issues around expansion, both economic and non-economic. Of course, the non-economic issues include dilution of talent, how it could potentially affect competition around the league if we were to expand, how you would stock those teams, all those related issues, the economic issues, as I've talked about before. As we knew would be the case in these discussions among the board, they're very complex because in how you would potentially value the opportunity has a lot to do with your projections on the future growth of the league, because you are selling equity, and for every additional team you add, you're diluting the economics of the current league.
Isn't that what I just said? Right? Basically, all of these things, you have to have good ownership. You have to have a good place to play. You have to have a great market. All of those things are important. But even if you had all of those things, if you can't cover the cost without damaging the bottom line for the other teams, I mean, the other teams aren't going to approve it. Owners are not going to say, yes, I would like less money. They're not going to say that.
Never.
So it is, I assume the NBA will expand to 2 more teams. And I assume that Major League Baseball will also expand to 2 more teams. To me, that makes perfect sense. All right, here's something that doesn't make perfect sense. All right, we have SEC Media Day going on in Atlanta. I think they're in Atlanta. And I know the Big Ten is doing theirs next week, and the ACC is doing theirs next week, and we'll be down in Charlotte with the ACC. Eli Drinkwitz, our former friend who was the offensive coordinator at NC State and was the head coach for a season at App State, has a plan for college football playoff expansion. I don't know how many people have heard this. I read about it today, and I laughed out loud because there is somebody who goes, it's a great idea.
Always.
So we're talking about expanding to 16 teams now. We're at 12. We might stay at 12. But if they expand, they'll go to 16. There's no reason to stop at 14. We'll just go right to 16. Eli Drinkwitz thinks that's small potatoes. Here was his legit playoff expansion plan. 30.
What?
30 teams. I got nothing for you, Eli.
Wow.
But let me explain. Here's what he says. Because actually, it's better to actually just kind of read the quote, because it is great. He goes, now we're talking about an opportunity for 30 teams, 30 fan bases to be excited and engaged, giving revenue to 30 teams with players who have access to compete for a championship. So for me, I think that makes a lot more sense. Well, why not just do 60? Or let's go to 64, since we know that a 64-team bracket works. Think about the opportunity for all of those players and all of those teams to feel like they have a chance. Whew. So with the 30-team bracket, it would come with 7 automatic spots for the SEC and the Big Ten. 7 each. The ACC and the Big 12 would each get 2. But all 10 FBS football conferences would get a guaranteed spot in the field. Right? Can I tell you who isn't in favor of Eli Drinkwitz's plan? his players.
Oh, well, yeah.
His players, let's see, defensive end Zion Young said, man, that's crazy. It don't sound bad, but 30 teams? That's a long playoff. We'll be in season until about March, end of March. That's about 9 months of football, 8 months of football. Would y'all want to do that for that long? Yeah, exactly. Nah, man. Oh, his own players like that. Coach is crazy. I love it. Wow. Absolutely love it. All right, let me break. Will Palaszczuk is going to join us on the other side. A little bit about the Hornets in Summer League and big doings next summer in Charlotte. It's the MLS All-Star Game. Willie P. next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Golf's final major will be found on 99.9 The Fan. Listen all week long as we cover the British Open from Royal Portrush. Depend on us for leaderboard updates and every big moment through the presentation of the Claret Jug.
Xander Schauffele is the winner of the 152nd Open Championship.
Coverage of the British Open on 99.9 The Fan is teed up by McConnell Golf, where members experience 17 club properties across 4 states with 1 membership.
Hi, it's Adam Gold for my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. And sometimes I don't know how I want to tell you that the best move you can make is to simply go to millerlending.com when you're looking for a mortgage. Why is it the best move you can make? People ask me that all the time. Because you don't pay closing cost. You save thousands of your dollars, real money, and you get a great rate, and you have the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates come down. Again, not paying closing costs. So it's almost like I've already saved you $10,000 because you're going to get a mortgage and you're going to refi when the rates come down. Rates are a little high right now, but still, you don't want to not get a house or get a mortgage because you want one and you need one. So take timing out of the equation. Just get your mortgage. Don't pay closing costs. Refinance when the time is right. Again, don't pay closing costs and save hundreds. It's ridiculous. Miller Lending, no better place. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. It's the only place to see the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. It's big-time fun for the whole family. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Coming to Lenovo Center July 26th and 27th. Brought to you by BKT Tires, the original super glue, and Texas Roadhouse.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Hey, let's hit the beach.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
I know it's hot out, but we need to restain the deck. Put on your long sleeves and mosquito spray. I'm going to grab all the stuff.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at preserveservices.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PATH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. Just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This is Adam Gold.
See Bettman take all that time to walk out, then to see the pick, bro hug no less than 20 guys on his way up there. And then this draft house, they just moved this wall like the Price is Right. I don't know.
It's a showcase showdown back there.
I know.
That would be great. So we should spin a wheel,
yeah,
right? Exactly.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Great news last week when Major League Soccer said that we are bringing the 2026 All-Star Game to the city of Charlotte. And if you think about it, I don't know how many years we have to go back, but say 15 years ago, Charlotte really wasn't interested in Major League Soccer. I tell people this all the time. The Raleigh bid was way more intriguing to MLS at the time than Charlotte, but David Tepper looked at Bank of America Stadium and said, man, we can get 20-some-odd dates for soccer in here. Let's do it. And when the guy with the billions, to his credit, wants MLS, he's going to get it. It's turned out really well. Team is, I believe, now in 8th place after a win last night. Willie Palaszczuk, or Will Palaszczuk, Willie P. Style on Twitter, joins us. He is the voice of Charlotte FC. What a success story this has been, sir. You're right at the forefront of it.
It's very interesting, Adam, and I was talking with a lot of day one employees at the unveiling yesterday, and a lot of them didn't think not only this day would come, but didn't think that the way that the city has embraced this squad and even just soccer as a whole would be the way that it is. Since Charlotte has come into existence in 2022, David Tepper gave the stat, there have been more than 3 million people who've come through the turnstiles for any soccer event, not just Charlotte FC. We've had Copa America here last year. We had the Club World Cup during this summer. We've had international friendlies. We've had the Gold Cup with the U.S. men's national team here as well. It's been an incredible embracing of this sport from the city. I know that, when David Tepper said this is a soccer city, it maybe chapped a couple of people who were, diehard Panther fans who couldn't care about soccer, but you really can't ignore the impact that it's given on the city and just the way that the city seems to have embraced it. And obviously the success now is happening on the field, which is a good thing to see as well.
First of all, nice kit. That's the new, old, right? The new old one.
This is the homage to the 1981 Carolina Lightning, who were in the fledgling American Soccer League back in the early 80s.
I think it's a smart look. It looks good on you as well.
Thank you.
I think most people, and I shouldn't say most people, I'll just speak for myself.
Sure.
Not for a second do I believe that David Tepper loves soccer, but he's not dumb. And I think he loves sports, and he recognizes that soccer is a growing sport in our cities, in our bigger cities. And, all you got to do is look at, Charlotte's a hotbed for youth soccer. It's one of the top youth soccer locations in the entire country. Raleigh is right there as well. So if you've got a lot of kids playing and you have an opportunity to show them the highest level in the United States, chances are you're going to have a growing fan base, not to mention that we have a lot of transplants from overseas who live here and grew up with the game. So, I think it's a great business idea, and I appreciate that how they have embraced it down there. And I love Dean Smith. We're a big fan. Dean Smith has to win in Carolina, doesn't he?
Sure, absolutely.
Your name, Dean Smith. Dean Smith, you win.
Absolutely, he does, and far be it for me to speak for Mr. Tepper, but I think he sees it as in the eyes of an opportunist.
Yeah.
Like I think it's one of those things where you had maybe a couple of avenues you wanted to go for an additional investment, whether it was the baseball route, whether it was the soccer route, whether it was something else. And I think he saw the demographics of the city. I think he saw the fact that we had a couple of trial runs with some games here before Charlotte FC came into existence. I know Chelsea was here against PSG and a couple of others. And obviously, there was a lot of, like you said, youth soccer interest, the soccer interest for the universities around here too as well. And obviously, the Charlotte Soccer Academy has got a pretty big foothold in this part of the country as well. So there's at least a lot of those things that were first fruits. But even so, I don't think anybody could have predicted what had happened here with the way that this city has kind of captivated, or this team has captivated this city. Even the most opportunistic people, myself included, are still in awe when you see 28, 30,000 per match turnout at the bank. And it's just a testament to how much these fans love this sport and love this club.
All right, two quick things before we move on to the Hornets. One, Patrick Agyemang, the striker, is no longer with Charlotte FC. He's now at Derby County, sold to $8 million plus $2 million in add-ons. I love that. Achievable, incentives that would get Charlotte a couple more million bucks. How do they replace their best striker? And somebody, first of all, I heard Dean Smith's comments. You sent them to me. I think he's right in terms of big picture for him, but I think he almost got it backwards. But I think he's right. This is a very difficult move. It will prove to be a difficult move for him. I don't know if it makes him any more likely. It's probably less likely that he is now the top U.S. choice at striker. But first of all, how do you replace him?
Well, again, I think to clarify Dean's comments too, I don't think he's saying that a move to the championship is bad necessarily, but if you're going to move to the championship, you're hoping to go to a place where you feel like you're going to get promoted. And I think that's the thing that Dean was trying to say, and whether it's a situation of, if he, scores 20 goals in the English Championship, does that make him a more viable striker for the U.S.? Absolutely it does. It's just, I don't know how much time he's going to get because of the match congestion. They play 44 games, and they play Saturday, Tuesday. There's not a lot of time for rest, not a lot of time for coaching or development. So there's that part of it. As far as Charlotte FC goes, look, this is a very fluid situation right now. The transfer window opens literally 1 week from today, so that's the soonest that they can add players. I know they've been poking around a couple of different places, including with a former MLS player in Yorgos Giacomakis, who's currently playing for Cruz Azul in Mexico. I don't know if that necessarily is in an imminent situation, but he obviously would be somebody who would command a DP tag. I think they're trying to find the right balance with a guy who they are currently developing, who's played very well this season, in Idan Toklamati. He's got 3 goals in his last 5 games, basically playing in Patrick Agyemang's spot. I do envision them adding somebody. They have to add at least another person because they don't have depth at that position. Whether or not it's somebody who is a direct competitor, someone who will just replace Idan Toklamati outright because he's a DP, or another developmental piece because they like what Toklamati has done. I asked Dean directly, I said, hey, how much can Idan do to try and solidify his spot? And he said, look, if he keeps scoring goals, makes the decision easier for us. So it's a... It's a very simple way and simplistic way to look at it. I do think, though, that they want to get more solid at that position, and I also think they want to get more solid defensively as well. This is a team that has already let up as many goals this season as they had all last year, and I think a lot of that's due to injury, and a lot of that's due to individual errors, but they definitely have to solidify themselves in the back line, and I expect this window, after they've already let go of 3 players, to be a transformative one for Charlotte FC because they need to at least shore up some spots in order to make a run here late in the season.
Will Palaszczuk, the voice of Charlotte FC, also works on Hornets broadcast, so let's get to your thoughts on what they have, I don't even know if accomplished is the right word, but talk to me about the summer and what you've seen.
It's a very different way to evaluate it because, we want to evaluate the wins and losses, but you have to also look at the individual performances. I would say the standout for me has been Tijan Salon. He's looked a heck of a lot better in year number 2. First 2 games were very, very good. Didn't play the second half of game 3 because they wanted to see some other pieces get integrated. Liam McNeely, I think, was very eye-opening, the rookie out of UConn. He's somebody who I really underrated his ability to be a triple-level scorer. Again, whether that translates to NBA regular season action production remains to be seen, but he looked good, at least among his peers. Con Knippel had a rough first outing, but bounced back in his last outing in Game 3 of the Summer League. And I think a couple of the other pieces have looked good as well. You know, Sion James has had his moments. Ryan Kalkbrenner, I think, is still very much a work in progress, but I think you're seeing enough development from some pieces like T. John Salant, KJ Simpson as well, the second year going out of Colorado. There's been some good things. Does it make Charles Lee and Jeff Peterson's decisions any easier going forward? Maybe or maybe not, because they still are 3 over the roster limit right now for their NBA roster. They still got to cut some fat off the roster. And I think right now you're looking at a roster that, while it's deep, I don't know if it's necessarily at the level where they can start thinking about the P word yet. But if anything, you know, if they get some health and they get some things, you know, around Lamelo that begin to be a little bit more sure-handed, that obviously puts the pressure on him to perform. And hopefully, if he has a representative season, maybe you could make a little noise and get yourself into the 9-10 position, get in the play-in. But a lot of this, again, as we say for the Hornets, is always due up to health.
Will Palaszczuk is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Let me just kick this ahead to the Carolina Panthers. I know you do a lot of work with them as well,
Sure.
post-game on the Fan in Charlotte. All right, so we heard from Chris Canty, who does the morning show on ESPN Radio on Sportsmanlike, said the other day that he is feeling the Panthers. Like he thinks that – I think he sort of – worked his way into it, but said they'll win that division. Is he crazy? I don't think he's crazy for saying it, because I think it says more about the division than whether or not the Panthers are legitimately a playoff contender. I think in a normal division where you'd need 11 wins to win it, I don't think they're a contender. But I think in the South, where maybe 9 gets it done if you win the right games, I think that could be enough. What are your thoughts on it?
I think the way that they currently project, their ceiling is second in that division. I still think that Tampa can take care of business, provided they have the same kind of year that they've had representative to themselves. Baker Mayfield continues to be what he is, and they continue to be prolific offensively and solid defensively. I think what would have to happen is that Tampa would have to backslide, and almost everything, if not everything, would have to go right for Carolina. You'd have to see a full extrapolation of the 17-game schedule from what we saw in the second half from Bryce Young. The defense will have to go from very, very bad a year ago to even better than average, which, again, I think we're all kind of hoping that it just maybe sits around and peters out at average. And also, I think, too, Dave Canales has got to show a demonstrated commitment to the run, as opposed to just saying it in off-season press conferences. We have to see the actions behind that. He said last year they wanted to be a ground-and-pound team, and yet he would abandon the run if the lead got to double digits. So I understand that certain times in game situations, things might dictate to be a little bit differently, but you've got a top 10 running back in Chuba Hubbard right now, and you have to use him. And he utilized one of your best assets, and you've got a great spell back in Rico Dowdle to make sure that you don't get necessarily a drop-off when he has to come off of the field. So I think leaning on that run game, getting that defense to a more, again, average level, and Bryce Young being the kind of guy we saw during the latter half of the season, all those things put together, can they win the division? Yes. I think other things that maybe are beyond their control have to happen to make that happen. But I think that even if they get and take care of their own business with the schedule they have what it takes to be at least the second best team in this division, which is a magnificent step forward given where they've been over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think they're a 7 or 8 win team. But if the division is what I think it can be, which is sort of the,
fluid.
Well, we'll leave it at that. Then if they can get to 9, I think that, again, that would give them a chance. And that's the way I look at it, too. Just to kind of piggyback on it, because you mentioned Bryce Young. And I do think that there's a lot of things in play. I agree with you about Dave Canales and committing to the run. Many times last year I had Matt Rule flashbacks about talking about being a running team while they were throwing it 38 times a game. And this is not score related. He was throwing it early as they were falling behind. I'm like, dude, You can't complain about we can't be a team throwing it 38 times when you're the guy calling the plays. So how much stock do you put in the last few games of Bryce Young's season where he legitimately looked like the quarterback that they had drafted first overall 2 years prior? Because to me, I think you can debate how much value to put on it because there was no pressure of the outcome of the games.
Well, what I will say about this is that you saw a much more confident version of him after he came back off the benching for Andy Dalton. And I think that was something that all he needed. I mean, any player in any sport, you give them a spring of confidence and they're going to show you their best self if they, again, have the kind of representative ability to do so. And he was drafted number 1 overall for a reason. It was not because he didn't have bona fides and he didn't have ability relative to his peers in the collegiate game. Were there measurables that were maybe somewhat questionable? Yes. He's a shorter than normal quarterback, and you have to do things to overcome that. I think they tweaked the passing lanes a little bit for him in terms of what Dave Canales had, because he's worked with, more diminutive quarterbacks before, like, Baker and such. So it's not as if this is something that was completely unfounded. I think, again, a lot of it was a feeling out process for the quarterback, for the head coach, and also for his offensive teammates as well. And the thing that I think is different from this year to last year that's enhanced is that they now have a wide receiver room that is the best wide receiver room the Panthers have had in a very long time. And that's going to be the toughest cut on this football team.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be somebody who is a legitimate wide receiver who could start anywhere else in the league that won't find their way onto this roster for the Carolina Panthers. And that's something that I think is incredibly prescient from Bryce Young's perspective. Add in the fact that the offensive line was miles better in 2024 than it was in 2023. So from that perspective, you have those things working for him. Again, like you said, as long as Dave Canales puts his play sheet where his mouth is, he actually can maybe have a balanced offensive attack that has a run game to help him out. And also, if he makes enough of those throws like he made during the second half of the season, he can rise up to a point where we're thinking of him now as somebody who is not just a solid guy, but somebody who is in an extension-eligible season, someone you can count for the Panthers long-term.
Oh, it's such a big year for him personally. I'd love to see him just continue the progress that we saw in the last quarter of the season. Will Palaszczuk, at Willie P. Style on Twitter, the voice of Charlotte FC, works with the Hornets and the Panthers, and is our friend, and I appreciate your time, sir. Great look, great kit, and I will see you soon.
I appreciate your defense of the anti-catch-up on Hot Dogs Nation.
Come on, we're adults. Aren't we adults?
Your contingent, which I'm a big part of, thanks you very much kindly for that.
All right, man, I'll talk to you later. See, we're a club. We're a team.
I can't. I'm a ketchup.
I understand.
I'll be on Rod Brendamore's side with this one. We'll be team ketchup.
You're trying to hurt me here. All right, well, we got one-timers on the other side next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Each year, 3.6 million people in the U.S. delay or skip medical care altogether simply because they can't get to a healthcare provider. From long distances to unreliable public transit to the cost of a tank of gas, it all adds up. LaPonda Edmondson, president of the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation, joins me to talk about how their social impact program is making a difference in Robeson County.
We're investing $900,000 over the course of 3 years in Robeson County. Our aim there is to be able to support these projects that address transportation as a social driver of health.
You can learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Hello, I'm Steve Troxler, North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture. Farming's tough, but you're not alone. That's why the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute offers the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. Long hours, difficult decisions, and unexpected challenges can add up. Whether you need to talk to a counselor who understands farming or help with finances, legal questions, or farm safety, call 844-325-3276. That's 844-325-3276, the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. 844-325-3276, because no one should face farm life alone.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC Scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower healthcare costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
Adventure affordably with a membership to the North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens, open year-round. Your membership purchase helps save wildlife and wild places, plus activates valuable perks such as guided tour and gift shop discounts and access to member-only events and picnic areas. Best of all, your North Carolina Zoo membership is recognized by over 150 zoos and aquariums nationwide, so you can take your savings on the road. Learn more about this unique investment at nczoo.org.
North Carolina ranks second in the nation in potential agricultural land lost by the year 2040. The NC Forever Farms program supports the preservation of family farms through permanent agricultural conservation easements and has received a record number of applications for 3 straight years. Landowners interested in preserving their working farm through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services can learn more by visiting ncadfp.org.
This is Adam Gold.
We're going to have Seth on the show next week when he gets back from vacation. He was by a pool.
What are you doing? Get off Twitter. It's nicer to be on Twitter when you're by a pool anyway.
No, just stop. Stop engaging with people.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. File this away. According to Cameron Boozer, Duke's star recruit, among all of their star recruits, he says that this Duke team has a chip on its shoulder because they feel overlooked.
What?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Is anybody talking about Duke basketball right now?
Well, no, they're talking about Bill Belichick and his girlfriend.
See? Nobody's talking about Duke basketball.
Yeah, but it's also not going on.
Find the lie.
Yeah, I'm ready for football, so I'm definitely not talking about Duke basketball.
Chip on their shoulder.
Yep.
It's hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. All right, one-timers.
All right, so first up here, we have this one from yesterday. We didn't get to this in time. So from Will, what's your thoughts on Campbell University Camels' schedule this year, especially with playing NC State?
They're scheduling what?
That's a good question. They're playing NC State, so maybe basketball. I don't know. It doesn't specify which sport.
What's my thoughts on Campbell's basketball schedule?
Who knows?
How many? Do they play enough games? I have no idea. If they play NC State in basketball, awesome. I said this the other day. play good non-conference games, but we're going to call them bye games, because what big schools will do is that they will they'll pay teams to come in and play. And generally, these are the automatic wins you would think on their schedule. To me, those should all be local teams. So it's a Campbell or it's a UNC Greensboro, and some of these aren't going to be automatic wins. They're just not. But if you're good, you should win them. I just think that would be the best way to do it. I think that it keeps more people engaged. You stand a chance. Look, NC State isn't going to get 19,000 people for every basketball game, but if you play Campbell in one of your non-conference basketball games, chances are you're going to get a couple thousand Camels fans in there. So there you go. Other than, I have no idea who's on Campbell's schedule.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. Same.
Sorry. I apologize for that. Maybe it's golf.
Maybe.
Brad Fritsch, did he make the golf schedule?
Maybe it's ping pong. So next up, thoughts on Pep's brace in Charlotte's 2-1 victory over DC United.
I was surprised that Willie didn't bring him up because he had a brace, although I also don't, he's not a striker. But look, great that he scored, but I'm gonna answer this question the way I wanted to talk to Willie about with Patrick Aubameyang. Charlotte does have to strengthen up front, and you got to get goals, but you got to prevent goals, and Charlotte hasn't been great at doing that. Although 2-1 win, and I think it's DC United coming in next. I think it was a bad move for Aubameyang, but it's an understandable move for him. The championship is a much more difficult league than Major League Soccer. He's going to have a harder time scoring goals. He's going to have a harder time finding playing time. But he's going to make a lot more money there. It's about, is he going to make 10 times what he made here? Probably not. But he can make 5 times what he's making here. And that is why he's doing it.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Mr. Businessman. Looking to reward your staff for a great first quarter? Adam Gold here. X-Golf in Cary, right in the McGregor Village Shopping Center. Take your company party or team building event to a new level. First, the premier golf simulator in North Carolina. So much fun. Food is great. Bar's top notch. And it's a better idea than another company polo. Plus, there's a buy one, get one special for your tee time as well. Just mention Gold and enjoy online at playxgolf.com/Cary, the home of premier indoor golf in North Carolina.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Panthers training camp is almost here, and it's finally time, Panthers fans. Go all out to win. The years prior to this, it's about draft picks. It's about playing the younger guys, making sure they get their experience, maybe even above winning games. But this year, all of that changes. Dave Canales, Bryce Young, it's time to win.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
At Wells Fargo, we know what got you into your business. Whether it's manufacturing, running a restaurant, or your business from home. What you didn't get into your business for was banking. But luckily, Wells Fargo offers business checking, payments, and lending all in one place, in your neighborhood and on our app, so you can focus on doing what you love. Wells Fargo, you're good at business, we're good at business banking. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/business. Terms apply. Wells Fargo Bank and a member FDIC.
Every season can be punishing for your roof. Mother Nature is a fierce opponent that doesn't take a break, which is why you need RoofWorks on your building maintenance team. Hi, this is Holly from RoofWorks. We specialize in keeping your commercial roof in great condition no matter what the issue may be. We offer roof inspections, roof repairs, and if needed, a full roof replacement. We help determine if there's a problem with your roof and advise you on the most cost-effective way to handle it. Contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
At Bailey's, love not only sparkles, but it also gives back. Hi, I'm Marcy Bailey. Yes, we have high-quality certified diamonds that fit your budget. But did you know that when you say I do with an engagement ring from Bailey's, a donation is made to the food bank to help feed a local family of 4 for an entire month? Celebrate your love with Bailey's, where every diamond helps create a brighter future. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, voted the best place to buy your diamond.
Is going to your local bar the worst part of your day? The bartender ignores you, mediocre food, warm beer? Then why go there? Take 5 minutes and drop in at Sharky's, where they'll give you a free evaluation, and you can learn about all the bars that you shouldn't go to. Sharky's has helped thousands find the right bar to hang at. What are you waiting for? Sharky's evaluation could be the cure to the worst part of your day. Change your bar, change your life. Sharky's, 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
We don't want you on our team.
You're not the right fit for this job.
You're too slow and fast.
Don't you care how you look?
Weight bias hurts. Go to stopweightbias.com. A public service message from Obesity Action Coalition.
How did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you. All of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Malcolm is a listening learner. So he checks with Babbel's speech recognition to be
Precio.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This was a good game. I don't normally enjoy the Major League Baseball All-Star Game because the pitching is so good. The pitching's so good that there's normally not a lot of runs scored and there's not a lot of hits. But this was a great game. We had hits. We had 3-run homers. First time in All-Star Game history, you had a pair of 3-run homers in the game, and you had 12 runs total scored. So I thought it was a really good game. We were tied after 9 innings, and then we did a home run derby. I don't know. I don't feel like the NL won. I don't really feel like anybody won.
What are we hating on the way they decided the All-Star game? Like it matters if anybody won?
Right, now it really doesn't matter.
What? Come on.
Except for Kyle Schwarber, who got the glass bat award.
Is that what they give you for?
It looks glass.
Probably loose. It's glass, lucite or something.
Maybe.
Crystal.
Ooh, fancy.
Crystal bat. I don't know.
Should make it like a snow globe. Put some glitter in there.
Oh, that would be cool.
I know.
No, seriously. Oh, we've just stumbled upon it. So you get a snow globe, but instead of like the little flakes of snow that, like, they're little baseballs.
Yeah, little
and
tiny
they're all
baseballs.
clearing the fence.
Right.
You have like a ballpark in there, a little fence.
I like it.
Perfect.
See? Boom.
Send that to Rob Manfred.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
It will absolutely work. Why we hating on the way they decided like legitimately an exhibition where I would say that a whole bunch of people who tuned in to watch it weren't around for the end of it.
No.
I mean, I wasn't. I fell asleep. I like, oh man, it was tied.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was sort of nodding off before it was even 6-4 nationally. I think the NL led 6-0 at one point, didn't they?
Think so.
I don't remember.
I fell asleep at some point and then woke up to see him get this mystery bat.
Oh, I woke up. I didn't see it until the next morning.
Yeah.
I was sitting at the kitchen table at like 7:00, and I'm surfing through. Like, wait a second, did the American League tie it up?
Yeah. Whoa.
No idea.
Got a game.
So I watched. No, I just saw the highlights, and I saw the home run, the swing off. I'm like, for an All-Star game, that's the perfect way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I said this the other day, I'd be in favor of something like that in the regular season.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already gimmicking things up anyway, and not as many games as you think end up in extra innings, and it's kind of it's a roll of the dice to see who wins in extra innings anyway, so this becomes more. I don't think you have more of a chance of winning in
Yeah.
a swing off than you do in the way we do extra innings in baseball. So why don't we eliminate the pitchers from the equation?
Yeah.
So, because that's why they changed the rules for extra innings, so we wouldn't be damaging pitching staffs. I mean, it's worth a try.
We should
anyway.
get the guy's dad to come out and throw the pitch.
Cal Raleigh's dad can
like
pitch
home
to
run
everybody.
derby. If your dad can pitch for you and you can hit a homer off of it, we'll do it.
Let's do it. That's the way we should do it. It's like, why are we hating on that, and why do we care who wins the All-Star game?
There's nothing else to complain about yet.
Please, people. All right, I want to talk about questionable ownership here as we do take two. All right. Here's what we know about the way contracts work in professional sports. The contract that is signed today sets the market for whatever position it is. And then the next player, we'll just say the next great player that comes up at that position, then exceeds the last one. If I were an owner of a major professional sports team, knowing that this is how it works, I would go, man, I would really like to sign that contract sooner because let everybody else exceed my number. Because if I'm on the other end of that, if I wait 2 years when I don't have to, I am now going to be paying more for the same player than I would have if I signed the contract sooner. So, as soon as you know this is the guy that we are going to hitch our trailer to, I'm going to get him signed. Micah Parsons might be that guy for the Dallas Cowboys. No? Right? Well, he was on a podcast with The Undertaker.
I know. I had to do a double take.
Is this the real, the wrestling Undertaker?
Yeah.
Okay,
the
must be a
old school
Cowboys
guy.
fan.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Maybe.
I don't even know what the name of the podcast is. But I saw this clip and I thought, yep, this definitely hits home.
How are we coming along with the contract, man? We gotta... Can you talk about it? Because look, I
listen.
He had to get a drink of water.
Yeah,
that's not a good sign.
We obviously want to get done early. We want that relief off our backs, but obviously ownership is always going to make it drag out, make it more complicated than it has to be. Lack of communication in that standpoint. But I just always say, God has me this far. He ain't done with me yet. So I just keep working, keep going. And then when it come, I'm going to be ready, but, it ain't going to be no drop-off.
It seems like to me, like they would want to get it done because there's a few other contracts out there that are going to probably say what you're going to end up getting paid.
I would never understand it. We wanted to do the contract last year. They're just kind of like we want to do Dak and CD, and then you go out there, perform again, and then, you would think like, all right, we'll get it done early. We know there's some guys that's about to get ready to get repaid, like Miles, Max is gone. So you would think like, hey, let's get ahead of that. You know what I mean?
All
I
right,
just never understand,
We can do it right there. Let's get ahead of that. We did it with Dak. They did it with CD Lamb. I don't understand. The rules are the same in every sport. Player A, who's on about the same level, maybe not even as high as player B. Whoever goes second in that contract probably gets a little bit bigger number. But by all means, Jerry Jones, wait. It always works out. Actually, it never does. Ever. For the life of me, I can't figure out why owners don't get it. Especially with sure things. Micah Parsons, the only thing that stops him from dominating is health. That's it. If he's on the field, that man is going to own a football game. I just can't get it. Don't wait. It just costs you more money. All right, one more thing, and then we're gonna. Let me just, before we get to the Paul Feinbaum clip here, for those people who think that 16 is the right number for a playoff, I need to introduce you to Eli Drinkwitz, who is now the head coach at the University of Missouri. He was NC State's offensive coordinator, spent a hot minute as App State's head coach, and is now the head coach at Mizzou. And he believes that the right number for a college football playoff is 30.
What?
Yes, not 16. And my comment to him is, why not 60? Why not 64? We know that 64 is a great bracket number. Frankly, why 30? Why not 32? Which is a better bracket number. Nope. Yes, it's about opportunity. It's about giving more players and more fans that playoff feeling. I thought, I am, by the way, not against what we call I don't even know what the phrase is now. Participation trophies.
Yeah.
I think the arguments against participation trophies is lame. I really do. We're not giving out participation trophies for pros, right? Or even, you could argue that a bowl appearance is a participation trophy. And I would never argue against that because I don't care. If you can go to a bowl game and your fans are interested and people will bet on it, maybe buy some tickets, I don't care. I don't have to watch. It's not my job to watch. But if you are really anti-participation trophy, I think that's pretty much a you problem. Sorry. If that feels as hard, I am not as hard in the paint as the anti-participation trophy people are. So, but if we're doing that, if we're actually making a playoff with 30 teams in it, if you're the 29th or 30th team, I'm not saying you shouldn't be excited about it because if it's a 30-team playoff, then by all means, go get your trophy. But how meaningful really is that? Right? It's just not that meaningful.
Yeah. Is your whole family going to travel to watch you play? No.
Is that going to keep you from getting fired? We were 29th, the 29th best team, 6 years in a row. I ain't going to stop you from getting fired. I don't know. That's part of the reason why so many coaches are really into the expanded NCAA basketball tournament because, I made the tournament again. I'm like, yeah, it's hard not to. If you play in a major league, it will become difficult to not make the tournament. And at that point, I think if you miss the tournament 2 straight years, it should be an automatic firing, whether the school wants to or not. Like if we expand the NCAA basketball tournament to 80, or at some point we're going to be at 90 or whatever that number would work out to be. Like if you missed the tournament 2 years in a row, sorry, we have no choice. We had to fire you. That was the rule. We don't make the rules. We only follow them. So, yeah, Eli Drinkwitz. All right, now, this had bubbled up over the last couple of days about the potential return to coaching of Nick Saban.
I think you better be on the cut line of the playoffs at the minimum. But I want to go back to Nick Saban, if I could divert for a second, because that story came out of here yesterday from one of his former players. And I know a lot of people thought maybe he would go to LSU. Nick Saban's not going to LSU. But Kevin, I don't know what you think about this, but I have the perfect job for Nick Saban. 45 minutes from his brand new home in Jupiter, go down to Miami, shake that system up. Unfortunately, the first thing he would have to do as the Dolphins coach, where he once coached, is get rid of Tua Tagovailoa, a quarterback who won him a national championship. But I think if he got Jim Harbaugh money, which he's certainly deserving, and maybe a little more, I think that's where people ought to look if Nick Saban ever resurfaced.
Why would he go back to the same place that he left? I guess he could. Like when he said Miami, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's not going to work with Mario Cristobal.
Yeah.
I think here's the thing about Nick Saban. I'm not anti-Nick Saban at all. And I'm not saying he'd be a bad NFL coach. But I think we underestimate the difference in coaching in the college game and the pro game. And this goes for basketball and football, or really any sport. There's some assumption that it's the same, and it is not the same. There's nothing other than the basic rules of play. College and NFL football are nothing like each other. Remember this. Harbaugh's really a pro coach. He brought pro coaching ideas to college. He was successful in college, but he is really a pro coach. Nick Saban is a college coach. This is not a knock. They are two different things. I think Nick Saban would be an average NFL coach. That's okay. That's about 20 of the 32 head coaches in the NFL. Average coaches. That's it. And that's you can be average and win 10 games, maybe even 11. But the gap in football coaching between Andy Reid and Nick Saban is gargantuan. I just think that we assume that it's the same, and it isn't. Saban is a giant of college coaching. He'd be fine in the NFL. If I'm an owner of an NFL team, I am not paying what it would cost me to get Nick Saban to come out of retirement for fine. I'm paying for Super Bowls. I don't know why we forget this. There is more bring it to basketball. There is more coaching, X and O coaching in a quarter of an NBA game than there is in a season of college basketball. Now, some of the coaches in college basketball do X and O better than others. But it is a possession over possession over possession exercise in the NBA. It's not that way in college. It just isn't. The players aren't good enough to execute that in college. It baffles me that we can't see that. All right, we're going to talk football. Hey, Ryan Wilson. I will see what Ryan Wilson has to say about that. CBSSports.com. Our first question gifted to us by Paul Feinbaum. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Tim Donnelly here with some great news. Win Your Weight in Meat is back on 99.9 The Fan. Text BEEF, B-E-E-F, to 919-860-5326 and enter to be one of our finalists. Through July 18th, we'll pick 10 people to come on air during the drive from 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, and share their weight. Then, on July 21st, we will randomly select one lucky winner, and they will score their weight in meat. Served up by our friends with the NC Beef Council. Beef. It's what's for dinner.
Riding a motorcycle is an experience like no other, but there's definitely important things to remember. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and one of my best friends is becoming a new rider this season. She cannot wait to take the bike out and go on all kinds of adventures, which I'm excited for her too, but I did warn her that now she's got to be aware of not only herself, but distracted drivers around her. Now, whether you're a new rider or a seasoned vet, it's so important to remember that if you're ever in an accident on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault, make sure to call my friends at Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too, so they understand. They get it. They know the value of your bike and your gear. Case evaluations are always going to be free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
You worked hard for your 401k. But if you've left your job, your money might be sitting in the wrong hands. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and it's very possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan, and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call Trajan today, 919-200-4000. That's 919-200-4000.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, let's paint the scenario here. I need windows, but man, I don't have 3 hours to go through the process of deciding what I need, when I need it. Can you help at the Aluminum Company?
Absolutely. So, first of all, when we come out to your house to look at your windows, typical window appointment may last 45 minutes, an hour. We're certainly not going to make a 4 or 5 hour commitment to talk about windows. We're
I
there
had
to
serve
help.
dinner last time.
Right. Listen, my wife always says, I talk to my wife all the time. We have salespeople, whatever we're doing. And my wife, I tell her all the time, I can't stand salespeople. And she laughs. She's like, you are a salesperson. I'm like, well, the difference is I'm just having a conversation trying to help people get what they want. I'm not there to pressure you. I'm just there to help you get in and out. And it's a pretty quick appointment. It's pretty efficient. So we're there to help you and make it quick.
I can vouch for that. The Aluminum Company of North Carolina, online at aluminumcompany.com.
The golf season is here. Time to upgrade your game. Head to Global Golf and explore Carolina's largest selection of pre-owned golf clubs. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned player, our expert staff will get you fit. Are you ready to trade in your current clubs? Global Golf makes it easy to trade in your previously played equipment and upgrade to your next set of clubs. Visit Global Golf today, located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf.
Gold. Gold.
Is he married to a person or just himself? Because I feel like that's very Aaron Rodgery of him to have the twist in there.
It's a very good question.
So, I don't know. We still don't know if it's a person.
Would he get down on one knee to ask himself over an ayahuasca?
Yes.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. So I want to go back to the Paul Feinbaum clip as we bring in Ryan Wilson, CBSSports.com, with the First Pick podcast, and he covers the NFL like nobody's business. Ryan, first of all, thank you for joining us on a sweltering summer day here. And actually, I don't know if it's sweltering outside. I'm just assuming because it's July. But I want you to hear this from Paul Feinbaum, who said this coming out of SEC Media Day at the potential of a Nick Saban return to coaching. Here's this.
I think he better be on the cut line of the playoffs at the minimum. But I want to go back to Nick Saban, if I could divert for a second, because that story came out of here yesterday from one of his former players. And I know a lot of people thought maybe he would go to LSU. Nick Saban's not going to LSU. But I got, Kevin, I don't know what you think about this, but I have the perfect job for Nick Saban. 45 minutes from his brand new home in Jupiter, go down to Miami, shake that system up. Unfortunately, the first thing he would have to do as the Dolphins coach, where he once coached, is get rid of Tua Tagovailoa, a quarterback who won him a national championship. But I think if he got Jim Harbaugh money, which he's certainly deserving, and maybe a little more, I think that's where people ought to look if Nick Saban ever resurfaced.
What do you think? Nick Saban, not back to the Dolphins because that's kind of silly, but Nick Saban to the NFL.
I'm glad you added the qualifier for the Dolphins. I was thinking the first time around it didn't work out, and there's a fun story I have to tell you about how my coworker Danny Cannell's dad is an orthopedic surgeon. He was the orthopedic surgeon for the Dolphins when Nick was trying to decide between Dante Culpepper and Drew Brees. And I just won't say where the finger now points, maybe wrongly, about why they settled on Dante as opposed to Drew. The other thing is, the other fun connection is my good buddy Rick Spielman was the GM in name only, he will tell you, for Saban down there until Saban fired him. So they're now back on the same page, and they're good with each other. But I think you're right. Silly might be the best way to describe going to the NFL, South Florida for Nick Saban. But the other thing, and I suppose college is becoming more like the NFL with the NIL money and players leaving after every season for better deals, and I understand all that part of it. But that's part of the reason Nick left college. He thought the game was changing too fast, and he didn't feel like perhaps keeping up with it. So I don't know if things are suddenly better in the NFL now as the college game continues to evolve. And he's 73. He seems to have a good time doing game day and hanging out with and joking around with Pat McAfee. I don't know if he wants to get back to that grind. And the other thing, when you talk to people at Alabama, one of the reasons he also left was because of his wife, Miss Terry. And I think maybe she wasn't of full health then. Maybe she's great now. Hope she is. But I would imagine that would also play a factor in determining whether he's going to go back to an 80-hour-a-week job as a 73-year-old.
Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at Ryan Wilson CBS on Twitter. Here's the other thing. I went hard in the paint on it, but it's okay. I think that Nick Saban could come to the NFL and be a good coach. I mean, fine. I mean, regardless of what happened at Miami, however many years ago. I think he'd be fine. He'd be an average NFL coach. But why would I pay whatever it is, $15 million a year for average? And, to me, that there's more coaching, more X and O complications dealing with the best players in the world against the other best players in the world at the NFL level, that I just don't. I think that the two sports are different. Two games are different. The sport is the same, but the games are entirely different as they are played. And that, the difference between Andy Reid and Nick Saban in coaching is vast, in my opinion anyway. And I think that's same about the NBA versus college basketball. We don't give how good the coaches are enough credit in the NFL, and we see that there's a wide gulf in coaches.
The other thing, and I think when you talk to the Alabama players as they come through, we typically get them at the combine, the defensive players especially, but even the offensive players, to a person, talk about what a great human being Nick Saban has been for them and their lives developmentally. And also that defensively, there's none better as a coach. But to your larger point, I think the trade-off and the sort of gradations between Andy Reid and coaches 16 through 32, if you're going to rank them. And as we churn through these young coaches, it feels like an owner and a GM might be better served hiring a 38-year-old who's, worked for McVay or Shanahan or whomever, and you're paying coach minimum, quotation marks, whatever that is, as opposed to the premium you're talking about for Nick Saban, who is 73. I would imagine his heart would be in it if he decided to come back, but at 73, how many years are you getting? Can he relate to these players? He did it a few years ago to Alabama, as I just mentioned, but this is, you're aiming at a moving target, it feels like, when you're trying to relate to 21 to 24-year-olds in the age we live in. And I think that's what you have to consider. I think he's a great coach, but Andy Reid is the anomaly. He's not the average coach who's age 65 or older and having such success. And I think it just doesn't make sense to me on the surface. If you told me he went to a Division III college to coach, that would make much more sense to me because he's doing it to coach. He's not doing it to win a national title or Super Bowl.
If he, if I'm not suggesting that this should happen, but if Dave Doran left state, if I were NC State, I would throw $20 million at Nick Saban and say, come be my coach. Give me whatever you can give me. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and that his track record is much more proven than the guy in Chapel Hill who continues to be in the news for non-football reasons.
Hey, I am Team Belichick here. I have no idea if it's going to work out, but because I am really Team me, I am here for the show that it's going to be. Good or bad, it's going to be awesome to watch. Ryan Wilson here on the Adam Gold Show. Probably on the other end of the Nick Saban coming back to the NFL spectrum. How do you feel about the Buccaneers creamsicle uniforms coming back on a more regular basis? I'm sure you've thought about this.
Love them.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I are close in age, and that they were.
I'm way older than you, sir.
Okay, well, we'll just you ask a 20-year-old, they think we're the same age, so I'll take it. I'll take that as a compliment for both of us. But when that team began with John McKay as the head coach, and he was asked, "What do you think of your team's execution?" He said, "I'm in favor of it." Those all harken back to those creamsicle uniforms, and it was a simpler time, Adam.
Yeah.
It was a simpler time all around.
Leroy Selman. It's funny. I watched the video that the Buccaneers put out, and it made me laugh because I basically knew. I remember those players when they were in creamsicle uniforms, right? We should have had more Doug Williams highlights, maybe some more James Wilder highlights, but at least we had enough Leroy Selman highlights. Look, I'm a huge fan of old school uniforms, the Chargers coming back, sort of getting to where they were. I like Pat the Patriot. With the whole Patriots thing. I like that better than whatever they've been wearing the last 20 years. Of course, they've won. So as Crash Davis said, don't mess with the streak. Ryan Wilson is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Speaking of Belichick, real quick, I don't even know what the occasion was, but where do you stand in the debate over who took the bigger risk between Robert Kraft to hire Bill Belichick or Belichick to take the Patriots job?
I love that Belichick said I had other job offers with the Jets. The one he resigned on a napkin and faxed it to him or whatever the story is there. It's so great. It's two old timers who have a fence separating their yards and they're arguing over how far into their property line the fence goes, and they're just yelling back and forth at each other. I wish them both well. One's 85, one's 74. They're both worth billions or hundreds of millions. One's dating a 24-year-old who we know quite well through the media. There are worse situations these two could be in, but they should probably just stop talking about one another. The thing is, they made each other so much money, but they want to a lesser degree, they want the credit like Jerry Jones wanted the credit over Jimmy Johnson.
And we're going to get to Jerry Jones in a second here. Here's the thing, in this triangle, Brady, Belichick, Kraft, and it kind of is a triangle because Kraft Robert Kraft's influence kept Tom Brady in New England longer than Bill Belichick would have kept him, and they won Super Bowls as a result of it. But why we can't all agree that it was the combination of the two or three that really led to all the success? And I know Brady won a Super Bowl in Tampa, but that was a team that was built to win a Super Bowl. They just needed competence at quarterback. They got it out of Tom Brady, and Belichick was perfect for the Patriots at the time. Why we have to say that was more important than this? I think they're all dependent upon each other. Is that that's the anti-hot take. Did I lose him? I broke Ryan Wilson. I broke him. Absolutely broke him. I've had strong takes. My strong take is that it's a tie between Belichick and Brady. And I know, because this is the way we boil things down, is that, Brady won a ring in Tampa. Probably should have won more, to be honest. I saw Brady at the end in New England, and he wasn't any good when there wasn't good personnel. I think it was really the team in Tampa that won the Super Bowl. I don't know why. To me, that's not controversial, that Belichick and Brady made each other. I don't know how much of that question you were able to hear, but basically, I kind of feel like all three of those guys were equally responsible for the success.
Yeah, no, I heard the entire question. I feel like Belichick pulled the cord at the moment I was getting ready to respond. He had heard enough of us bad-mouthing him. But I think you're right. Why can't everyone take ownership of the success this franchise had had? And they were struggling prior to Belichick and Kraft buying the team, and, of course, Tom Brady getting drafted in 2000. And together they've all made it what it became. Now, if you want to break up the pie in whatever way, I think probably Tom Brady deserves more credit than Belichick, but that's a conversation you can have. But it is weird that these two old-timers are going back and forth in the media. I get the sense in watching some of those behind-the-scenes things over the years, Adam, that Belichick tolerated, quotation marks, Robert Kraft because he was the owner, but Robert Kraft seemed like he meant well and was trying to do the best for the organization. And again, it all worked out. We can give everyone credit for the success that organization had over the last 25 years.
How come Mo Lewis doesn't get all of the credit for knocking Drew Bledsoe out of the season. The Jets are responsible for their own demise. Ryan Wilson is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I played a clip earlier today of Micah Parsons, who was on a podcast with The Undertaker. I have no idea how that came about. I said the same. Is that really The Undertaker? How about that? And the conversation was about, the contract negotiations. What Jerry Jones is never going to learn that the longer you wait, the more expensive it gets?
I don't. It's one of those things that just don't make sense. And the more you think about it, the more your head hurts, and you just have to accept the fact that this is how he's going to do business. And he did it with Dak Prescott. He did it with T. Higgins. He did it with C.D. Lamb. Even previously, he did it with trying to resign the running backs. I don't know. And what's going to happen is if the Steelers sign T.J. Watt, now it's going to have to be $1 more than what T.J. Watt makes.
Right. T.J.
Watt's probably going to be the highest paid edge rusher. And this is going to happen. T.J. Watt is 6 or 7 years older than Micah Parsons. So you're just burning through cash when you could pay Micah now. You could have paid Micah 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I don't understand the math on it. And now they're going to have 3 of their best players accounting for, I think, like a third or maybe higher of the salary cap in Dak and CD and Micah when he gets paid.
So, it's the second time they've done that with Dak. I just don't understand, because we know how the rules work when it comes to contracts. The longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. So there's no debate over whether or not the Dallas Cowboys should keep Micah Parsons, right? We've arrived at that decision. So as soon as now's the time to do it. All right, let me ask you one final question, and we're going all over the place with goofiness and football. But there's been a number of rankings of quarterbacks. I think we could all agree that in one way, shape, or form, it's Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, and Burrow. Those top 4 stand alone. I'm not even going to debate what order they should be in. Who's next on that list?
Well, this is going to sound crazy, but are we talking about guys like Jaden Daniels, if he can have a positive year too? I think Dak does come into that conversation. Jordan Love is probably in there somewhere. C.J. Stroud, he had a down year last year. They went 10-7. They fired their offensive coordinator, so maybe it wasn't him as quite so much. Even Baker Mayfield has his flashes, and he's sort of helped that team turn around. One name I haven't mentioned yet, and maybe on purpose or not, Justin Herbert. He has to. This has to be the year. I give him a lot of grace. I'm a huge Justin Herbert fan, but he has not lived to the same expectations that we've had of Joe Burrow, for example. So I think that's fair to ask. And I think Geno Smith is underrated even at age 34. He's probably maybe the
I didn't expect
after.
Geno Smith to be mentioned here. That's interesting.
I would probably put him in tier 1.5 to tier 2.5 to tier 3, not tier 2 below the 5 names you mentioned there. I think the takeaway is that there are a lot of good quarterbacks between 1 and probably 12-ish, and then things get a little murky, and young guys, you want to see how they perform and so on and so forth. But Jaden Daniels might be the biggest surprise to me as I went through that thought exercise. Fantastic last year. It's just want to see him put it back-to-back. I think having Cliff Kingsbury there helps. Got to sort out Terry McLaurin. Getting Deebo Samuel will help as well. But that team just goes to show, sort of like the Houston Texans a few years ago. If you get the coach and the quarterback right, you can fix a lot of things quickly on a bad football team.
And that's, honestly, that's the only hesitation I have is that, all right, we've seen it 1 year, and I'm thinking what I saw from C.J. Stroud in year 2, that I want to wait before I say Jaden Daniels belongs, really in that conversation. But, I didn't have him far away. I had Matthew Stafford 5th on my own list, and I think that Jalen Hurts, he's not exactly what we expect necessarily from quarterbacks, just drop back and sling it all over the field all game long. But I don't know, the guy's pretty effective.
Yeah, and Jalen's a good one too. I overlooked him unintentionally, and that's a good call for you, because I know he catches guff unnecessarily, and I think to your point, he fits that system great, and I think he would fit other systems great as well. And that team, all that team does is win. So you can make excuses about why, but he's a big part of it.
Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports. Maybe you and I are the same age. You said guff. You just said he takes a lot of guff. All right. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your summer. I'll hit you soon.
Thank you, Adam. Good talking to you, brother.
You got it. Ryan Wilson here on the Adam Gold Show. Seriously, when he takes a lot of guff. I mean, that's like, I think my grandfather said that.
Yeah. I know. Well, I was at first says like Goff, but Guff. Like saying Goff's name wrong.
Guff. A lot of guff.
I like it.
But we've kind of joked about ranking things, and we talked about quarterbacks the other day. And look, until further notice, and they didn't win the last Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts did. Patrick Mahomes had a bad year last year. By any measure, he wasn't great last year. It has a lot to do with the personnel around him, and they had a bunch of injury issues, and I think they'll have better personnel around them this year. But he's still the best quarterback in the league, and he is trending towards being on the short list of the best quarterbacks of all time. I believe that Allen and Jackson are essentially the same. I think Allen's slightly ahead, but whatever. And if you said Jackson was better, that's fine too. I think Allen would be 2. I don't believe in ties here. Allen 2, Jackson 3, Burrow 4. And I believe those first 3 are the only 3 who legitimately carry their teams. Burrow is an amazing quarterback, but I think those other 3 separate. But Burrow is the best, and I joked around about it. To me, Burrow's the best human playing quarterback. Those others, they're aliens. They're from outer space. But after that, it really does become eye of the beholder. Because I know you can make strong cases. Like, I have a harder time with Daniels because it's only 1 year. Said the same thing about C.J. Stroud after year 1. It's year 1. Just wait. So last year, Stroud, there were injuries on the offensive line. There were injuries at receiver. And I know they fired their offensive coordinator, who was apparently up for every head coaching job in the world, and then got fired from his offensive coordinator spot. So we know all of that, but somehow it's more difficult to play quarterback when your receivers aren't as good and your offensive line isn't as good. Where do I remember that from? Oh, that's right. Year 1 of Bryce Young. Remember that? Remember how awful the Panthers were at receiver, at offensive line, at head coach?
Yep.
Remember how bad that was? But no, we didn't. We didn't assign those variables to maybe why Bryce Young struggled so much. Some people just went, he sucks. I'm like, well, you put the best quarterback in the league with his exact same tools to work with, he ain't going to get much better than that. They threw a rookie into the worst possible situation. They are lucky that Bryce Young did not get killed.
Yeah.
How many times was he sacked? 60 some odd times?
I know.
In year 1, whatever it was. It might not have been that much, but it felt like it. Felt like 100.
Yeah.
And they threw a lot of interceptions. They threw a ton of bad passes, and he looked bad, and he looked worse in games 1 and 2 in year 2. Maybe that had something to do with the fact that they really didn't use him in the preseason. But, man, you give him some decent receivers, and it wasn't awesome last year. And the head coaching gets better. And I think it took a while for Dave Canales to hit his stride as a coach and a play caller. And we'll see if that continues and takes another step this upcoming year. But as things got better around Bryce Young, it's not a coincidence that things got better for Bryce Young. It baffles me why we're not able to see it. But it became pretty obvious that by the end of the year, as the receivers looked better, even though there were drops, key moments, defense was bad, and it blew some games that he otherwise would have won, suddenly a lot of people are bullish on Bryce Young. How about that? All right, we'll stretch. We will place bets. All of that next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Each year, 3.6 million people in the U.S. delay or skip medical care altogether simply because they can't get to a healthcare provider. From long distances to unreliable public transit to the cost of a tank of gas, it all adds up. LaPonda Edmondson, president of the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation, joins me to talk about how their social impact program is making a difference in Robeson County.
We're investing $900,000 over the course of 3 years in Robeson County. Our aim there is to be able to support these projects that address transportation as a social driver of health.
You can learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Hello, I'm Steve Troxler, North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture. Farming's tough, but you're not alone. That's why the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute offers the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. Long hours, difficult decisions, and unexpected challenges can add up. Whether you need to talk to a counselor who understands farming or help with finances, legal questions, or farm safety, call 844-325-3276. That's 844-325-3276, the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. 844-325-3276, because no one should face farm life alone.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower healthcare costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
Voted best zoo in the nation, North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens is centrally located in the heart of North Carolina. Bring your family to Asheboro for an affordable day trip or weekend excursion to connect with nature and make cherished memories. Discover towering giraffes, pouncing sandcats, and diving seabirds at the world's largest natural habitat zoo. Roam with rhinos on Zoofari, or flutter by the exotic butterfly garden during your next visit. Explore more possibilities at nczoo.org.
North Carolina ranks second in the nation in potential agricultural land lost by the year 2040. The NC Forever Farms program supports the preservation of family farms through permanent agricultural conservation easements and has received a record number of applications for 3 straight years. Landowners interested in preserving their working farm through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services can learn more by visiting ncadfp.org.
This is Adam Gold.
I did love that Rod video with him, though, when he was trying to communicate.
Yeah, you speak hockey.
And he was like, it's okay, you don't need to know this, you know hockey. And I was like, oh, heartstrings. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. So let me ask this question. This is a bit of show prep on the air. In our seventh inning stretch here, Victoria,
yes.
Do you have a story that happened at a Coldplay concert?
Oh no.
Okay,
I know what you're talking about.
Let me bring it up here, only because I really don't care, but I am curious how people would handle this. So there's apparently I have no idea who these people are. It doesn't matter to me. And this just in, husbands and wives will stray on their spouses. It's happened before. Like, I'm not going to get into it. Whatever you could think about it, whatever you want. But apparently at a Coldplay concert, they had like a kiss cam, which happens at sporting events.
Yeah.
And they had this CEO of a company, never heard of the company, nor the CEO, was apparently with somebody who was not Mrs. that guy.
CEO, yeah. Yeah.
And she turns around, and he just sinks. Like they've been on screen for like 2 seconds already.
Right, yeah. There's an imaginary escalator that just came out of nowhere.
Too late.
Yeah, sorry.
Look, they seemed like they're in love.
Yeah.
Can't help who you love.
Right.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Don't go to Coldplay concerts.
Yeah, exactly. Not a good look.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is a good look. Sports is actually good for our health, despite what some people might think, because it stresses you out. Other Panther fans can feel that, but it's actually good because the Huffington Post said it was. They said that there's 3 ways it boosts your mental health. So the first way, it gives you a dopamine hit, which is the feel-good hormone, unless you, I guess, have a bad bet or something.
I guess, yeah.
or are a Panther fan like me most games, but we're turning it around this season.
It can work both ways.
I know. That's the problem. That's the problem. It also instills a feeling of community, which that makes sense. I mean, Twitter, when it's not yelling at each other, that you can find friends that way and, fans that are distant. Also, it's a healthy distraction to all the other garbage in life.
I don't disagree with that.
So there you go. If you need to prove a point where you say, hey, maybe spouse or mom, or if you're a kid or whatever, you're like, I need to watch this sporting event for my mental health. There's the reasons why. You just lay those out there and nobody can dispute that. So
it does provide maybe an excuse.
Exactly. And we are here to provide excuses for sports things. So there's that. Now, I will not provide an excuse for people to get a bad tattoo. Today is National Tattoo Day, and Google Trends, I like that Google is kind of seeing what's trending in different avenues because it makes for interesting topics. And so the number one tattoo, every state has a number one tattoo that people have been trending on Google.
Okay. What is North Carolina's number one tattoo?
Well, I will narrow it down. So they only really had 5 basics because you could get any kind of tattoo, so the spectrum is very broad. But they have names, hearts, crosses, flowers, and then for whatever reason, roses, which I'm pretty sure are a flower, but that's its own category.
Wait a second. Maybe it's the thorns.
I mean, maybe to differentiate it. I don't know. But yeah, those are the 5 categories. So out of those 5, which one do you think North Carolina Google trends the most?
Crosses.
No, it's actually flowers. Not roses.
Not roses.
Flowers.
Non-rose flowers.
Yes. So, no. Crosses, there was only 4 states: Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, and Ohio. So, it actually, most of the states are flowers. The second one is names, which is a bad idea.
Okay.
I would not recommend, unless it's your mom. Unless it's your mom, I would not go in there, or dad, family. You should just stick to those.
I can't think of anything I would want written on my body forever.
Yeah. I would stay away from the names.
Not to mention
that CEO guy.
Like the pain of the
I know.
tattoo.
Yeah,
I would not want
painful.
that. I would not want that. I'm not knocking it. Obviously, way more people seem to have them today than not.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I could not think of anything that I would want permanently on my body.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's okay. That's okay. You maybe you could get like a henna tattoo. It's just temporary.
That would hurt too, right?
No, those don't hurt.
You do it with a magic marker?
They fade
I just get a
out.
Sharpie.
You could do that.
Yeah.
You can do that. We'll just Sharpie some things on there.
Exactly.
One thing we should Sharpie down, maybe, I don't know. It's good bets.
Let's try
your bets. Place your bets. Do you? I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you one of my Open Championship wagers.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll go on from there because I only have 2 wagers that I made. I've got a 4-leg top 20 parlay. Justin Rose, Adam Scott, Justin Thomas, and Terrell Hatton. If they all finish in the top 20, it's plus 50. No, it's like, what is it? Plus a lot. I don't know what it is.
Plus a lot.
It's plus a lot. Plus 56.83.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
That is a lot. Here you go.
That is. Well, this I'm hoping for. We have specifics now on tomorrow's baseball game between the Cubs and the Red Sox. So, give me PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, to be a home run hitter. He's plus 420. Maybe he's still warmed up from the All-Star game. So, we'll see.
Reds at the Mets today. I think the Reds are going to beat New York. Ellie De La Cruz, anytime stolen base, plus 390.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
It's fun. I love stolen base.
Yeah, I know, they're fun. Next up, because I'm a Cubbies fan, I always root against White Sox. They're going to be playing the Pittsburgh Pirates tomorrow, and I'm just going to take the Pirates to win, and I'll go over 8.5. That's plus 180.
You know what we need here to close up? We need a good old soccer draw bet.
Yes.
Sweden, England, quarterfinals, women's Euros. Sweden could win that, but I think we're going extra time, so a draw, and that's plus 220.
From the heels
Touchdown, Carolina.
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. I'm in my DJ voice because I am telling you right now that the number one hit of the summer is not paying closing costs at Miller Lending. That's right, number one with a bullet. The original no closing cost mortgage is there for you, and it is red hot because you save thousands. And then when the rates come down, you save hundreds on top of that. So when you're looking for the best mortgage that you could possibly get, it's Miller Lending every single time. It'll be on his greatest hits album. By the way, Gordon Miller invented the no closing cost mortgage back in 1987. It's been in the triangle since 1996. Your neighbors have saved thousands, tens of thousands. I have saved about 50 grand. I'm an 11-time customer. Miller Lending. Go platinum. That's right, go platinum with Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary. An equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Panthers training camp is almost here, and it's finally time, Panthers fans. Go all out to win. The years prior to this, it's about draft picks. It's about playing the younger guys, making sure they get their experience, maybe even above winning games. But this year, all of that changes. Dave Canales, Bryce Young, it's time to win.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Black isn't just a color. It's the presence of infinite possibilities. It's the moment before everything changes. An invitation to something unforgettable.
I
Win up to $4 million with Carolina Black Premier from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Hey, let's take the dogs hiking.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
Let's dig out all the paint supplies and go ahead and start bickering while we're trapped in a room with paint fumes.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at PreserveServices.com.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Open Championship is the most prestigious event you can win in golf. For my understanding of the game and the history of the game, I think the Claret Jug is the most special one. Look forward to it intensely every year. Ireland and Northern Ireland have been very good to me in my golf career. It's been a lot of fun to be able to play here. I've done well in Portrush in the past. I have really good memories in Port Stewart, so I'm really looking forward to this week.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. That was John Rahm in advance of the first round of the Open Championship. We are, I'd say, about 75% through. Maybe not quite 75%, getting close. The final groups went off the first tee about 3 hours ago. It's taken almost 6 hours to play. It's a long day. The weather wasn't great early. It was kind of rainy and windy, and it kind of slowed everything up. So it's going to take probably close to 6 hours to complete the round. John Rahm shot a 70. Scotty Scheffler shot a 68 today. He is 3 under par. The leaders, because why not give people a leaderboard update? It's what they want. Jacob Skov Olesen. I know you've never heard of him. That's fine.
No.
He's 4 under along with Hatong Lee. Matt Fitzpatrick, who won the U.S. Open a couple of years ago in Massachusetts at Brookline. Christian Bezuidenhout. And Harris English and Lucas Glover are all 4 under par. So 6 players tied for the lead. There's a bunch of guys at -3, including Scotty Scheffler, Tyrrell Hatton, who has 5 holes left to play in his opening round. A bunch of players at -2, including Rory McIlroy, as well as Justin Rose, Aaron Rai. I don't know if you know him. Ricky Fowler is at 2 under par. He is done for the day, so good for Ricky Fowler. Phil Mickelson, 1 under par today. Way to go, old guy. Look, the older players, Lee Westwood is at 2 under par. The older players, I said this, and I'll still say it about Tiger. Tiger's health is going to take him out of any further contention for not just a major, but any golf tournament. When he can ride a cart, and he can on PGA Tour Champions, if Woods wants to play that tour, he could contend eventually if he doesn't have to walk. The walk eliminates Woods from the equation. He just physically can't do it. So could he make a cut? Look, he made the cut at the Masters last year. But his body is just broken, and he tore his Achilles. So, but I said this about Woods, older players can still win an Open Championship because length it's not unimportant, it's less important. Because in general, the ball will run. Everybody's long enough in an Open. And I go back, the last time the Open Championship was at Turnberry. It's not at Turnberry. They haven't gone back since Stewart Cink won, I believe, in 2008, 2009, 2009. Tom Watson should have won that at age 59. And we're going to see a 50-plus year-old player win another Open Championship at some point. Heck, Mickelson won the PGA at age 50. So, promise. Older players will have a chance to win this event because distance is not at a premium. It certainly will give you an advantage, but it is absolutely not at a premium. It's also dealing with why did they put a bunker there type of, like, it's amazing to watch. I said this earlier, it's my favorite golf tournament to watch. The colors, everything is just different about an Open Championship. It is awesome. And you get like big numbers too. And also because if it's a World Open, you get players you have never heard of, like Jacob Skov Olesen.
It's a few names.
Tied for the lead.
Yeah.
He is tied for the lead.
That guy.
Yes, exactly. Everybody had him in the betting pool.
Oh, of course.
So, anyway. All right, let's do a wall of sound.
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
3 things for you, all differing degrees of either fun or confusion. Let me start with Paul Feinbaum from SEC Media Day. It had been making the rounds that Nick Saban's coming back. Paul Feinbaum on that.
I think he better be on the cut line of the playoffs at the minimum. But I want to go back to Nick Saban, if I could divert for a second, because that story came out of here yesterday from one of his former players. And I know a lot of people thought maybe he would go to LSU. Nick Saban's not going to LSU. But I got, Kevin, I don't know what you think about this, but I have the perfect job for Nick Saban. 45 minutes from his brand new home in Jupiter, go down to Miami, shake that system up. Unfortunately, the first thing he would have to do as the Dolphins coach, where he once coached, is get rid of Tua Tagovailoa, a quarterback who won him a national championship. But I think if he got Jim Harbaugh money, which he's certainly deserving, and maybe a little more, I think that's where people ought to look if Nick Saban ever resurfaced.
I got two questions for that. First of all, why are we getting rid of Tua? I mean, isn't he a good quarterback? I mean,
Yeah,
I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, he has health problems. He has trouble staying healthy. But I think when he's healthy, I think he's a good quarterback. Why would he have to go back to Miami? A, that just seems crazy to me. B, do we think that all football is the same? It isn't. College is easier is not the right word. It's different than the NFL. If I were an NFL coach, I would not be interested in Nick Saban. End of discussion. All right. Now, what we know about contracts in sports. when you are due a contract, if I'm an owner, if I'm a smart owner, as soon as I know that my player is a keeper, all right, now we're getting to a contract. The first minute I can sign him to an extension, we are doing it. If it's up to me. Because the longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. Apparently, the Dallas Cowboys have not yet learned their lesson. They are doing this with Micah Parsons, who was on, I guess, a podcast with The Undertaker. Yeah, that Undertaker.
How are we coming along with the contract, man? We gotta...
Can you talk about it? Because look, I listen. He had to get a drink of water. Yeah, that's not a good sign.
We obviously want to get done early. We want that relief off our backs, but obviously ownership is always going to make it drag out, make it more complicated than it has to be. Lack of communication in that standpoint. But I just always say, God has me this far. He ain't done with me yet. So I just keep working, keep going. And then when it come, I'm going to be ready, but, it ain't going to be no drop-off.
It seems like to me, like they would want to get it done because there's a few other contracts out there that are going to probably say what you're going to end up getting paid.
I would never understand it. We wanted to do the contract last year. They're just kind of like we want to do Dak and CD, and then you go out there, perform again, and then, you would think like, all right, we'll get it done early. We know there's some guys that's about to get ready to get repaid, like Miles, Max is gone. So you would think like, hey, let's get ahead of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But we didn't. Because apparently the Dallas Cowboys just want to pay their players more than they have to. Hey, you know what? I didn't realize that Jerry Jones was as charitable as he is. I really want these guys to make as much money as they possibly can. So I'm going to wait longer than I should to sign players to the contracts that they will ultimately get. All right, one more thing before we close this, and we are going to talk to Mike Maniscalco in just a few minutes about the Hurricanes and their schedule, among other things. The National Sports Media Association just had their annual convention in which they presented Trip Tracy with the Co-North Carolina Sportscaster of the Year award. He won that with Anish Sharaff, the voice of the Carolina Panthers. Anyway, they also presented a national award to Mike Tirico, now with NBC Sports, formerly of ESPN. Our friend Wes Durham co-hosted this, really is the host of the event, the Master of Ceremonies, and he did a little Q&A with Mike Tirico, who had a message for the locals in Greensboro.
And by the way, are there any folks from Greensboro here tonight?
Oh, yeah. We got city folks everywhere.
Thank you for hosting us. And we have several Syracuse honorees here. On behalf of all of us, we apologize for Coach Boeheim.
There you go. There you go.
Love it.
Yes, the joke never gets old.
It doesn't.
So, for people who don't know, back when Syracuse entered the league and there was a debate about whether or not the ACC tournament should go to Madison Square Garden, Boeheim, who had spent his entire career coaching in the Big East, where their tournament was always at Madison Square Garden, threw a couple of... Greensboro caught some strays because Boeheim wanted New York. I'm not going to get into the debate, but anyway, for years, Boeheim was reminded of that. There you go. Shouts to you, Mike Tirico. When we come back, Mike Maniscalco, your voice of the Carolina Hurricanes, on the schedule, and maybe some other stuff. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Summer is for pool visits, vacations, and finally taking that adventure you've been putting off. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for Law Tigers, and one thing I've learned over my time riding motorcycles, or really just any vehicle in general, is you can try to plan for as much as possible when figuring out your next trip, but no one wants to think about the steps you have to take after getting into a wreck. And the reality is, riding your motorcycle comes with that risk, despite all of the benefits it also brings. But one important thing to remember if you're ever in that situation of getting into an accident on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault, always call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too. They understand the lifestyle. They understand the value of your bike and your gear. They know what it's like to go through an accident. So case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Primus returns. Onward and Upward Summer Tour. Headed to Red Hat Amphitheater on July 23rd. Primus with special guest Mono Neon. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Primus, live in concert, presented by Live Nation.
New to the area? Let me be the first to welcome you. I'm Marcy Bailey of Bailey's Fine Jewelry. We've been family-owned and part of North Carolina since 1948. We have a tradition of being voted the best jewelry store with an unparalleled selection of designer jewelry, fine diamonds, engagement rings, watches, and gifts to commemorate all your special occasions. We look forward to sharing our award-winning service and stunning jewels with you. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to see why every woman wants a Bailey box.
It's back to school season, and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask second grade teacher Mr. Torres.
Put me and just one Clorox wipe on a team? We can take on crayon smudges, sticky fingerprints on every surface, sneezes on the door handle, juice box explosion by the sink, snack crumbs, and don't even get me started on the bathroom passes.
Clorox disinfecting wipes. Teacher's #1 wipe.
Think about it. Bathroom passes.
Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good
yeah.
aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold, Victoria, producing the program. Yesterday, the National Hockey League spit their schedule out right at 1 o'clock sharp, and we were gifted, because I consider it a gift, the NHL schedule. Hurricanes will open up on Thursday, October 9th, at home against the New Jersey Devils. 2 nights later, the Philadelphia Flyers will be at Lenovo Center, and then the Hurricanes will be gone for just about the rest of the month. Mike Maniscalco is the voice of the Carolina Hurricanes. Sir, have you already begun packing?
Pretty much, yeah. As you know, when the schedule gets here, we start to plot what the NHL really means, which is no home life, and we figure everything out.
I mean, 6 games Out west, which we all expected. The Hurricanes always make at least one of their western trips during this period anyway. But, man, they're basically making 2 trips in one, and it's going to take more than 2 weeks to do it. That's a long time to be away. And there's no break. Last year there was a break in that long road trip, right? You were able to come home for a couple of days because it finished in the East Coast. You're out west the entire time.
I'll be honest with you, Adam. I like it, especially the way that the schedule is going to be this year with the Olympics, to get the West Coast, or at least as much of the West Coast, out of the way, so you're not flying back and forth late in the season. Now, that being said, there is that trip back out to Western Canada and Seattle in March, but I like getting these trips out of the way early, because the more games you can play at the end of the year in the Eastern time zone, I think the more it benefits the Hurricanes. So, yeah, let's go on the road early, and we can say all the cliches. You know, you get to bond with your new teammates, right. And the new teammates get to bond with the old guys and everything that goes there. But it's, you know, again, it's not how it used to be. You fly charter. Everybody stays in a really good place,
yeah.
And you move on from there. But, yeah, when the schedule comes out, you take a look and you kind of map your route, okay, for these long road trips. And I do like the fact, you're right, this is 2-1. You're not only just knocking out basically the California teams, you're also getting rid of that little crisscross between Mountain and Central time zone with the 3 other teams that are left on the schedule, the Vegas, Colorado, and Dallas. So I think it's a good thing to get that trip out of the way early.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned the cliche of bonding with your teammates. 17 days between home games, they might hate each other by the time we get back. Not a lot of new faces, by the way. It should be pointed out. Over the last several years, the Hurricanes have had a ton of turnover, right? And there are some new faces, and I want to get your thoughts on certainly 2 of them. But there's really a lot of familiarity for the first time in a long time, and I am looking forward to that. So let's get into the acquisition of Keandre Miller and Nick Ehlers. We'll start with the defenseman who was brought in first. What are your thoughts on that?
First off, I immediately jumped to, this is like acquiring Brady Shea from the Rangers. You're bringing in a player who can skate. You're bringing in a player who has, I think, more offensive potential than what he really showed in New York. This is not to disparage Adam Fox, but I'm going to do that. When you are teamed up with Adam, when you're paired up with Adam Fox, and things go sideways as a defensive pairing, they're going to blame the other guy. They're not going to blame the guy who won the Norris Trophy.
Right.
And that kind of happened with Keandre Miller this year with everything that the Rangers went through. And I think that this is a guy who a change of scenery and playing in this system and playing the way that the Canes want to play it, it's actually suited for him, Adam, because he likes to play fast. He transitions the puck. Again, he's a great skater. We've heard about all of these things, and he's coming into the prime of his career. So I look at that and who he'll have the opportunity to play with here in Carolina. I'm not saying that he's going to turn into an all-star or that he's going to turn into a Norris Trophy candidate, but I think that he is going to be a player that Canes fans are going to like for a long, long time, because he also brings a little bit of snarl. He has that to his game. He's not afraid to be physical. He's not afraid to, push guys away from the front of the net after the whistle. So that's something that's been missing, and the Canes address it, and you're getting a 25, 26-year-old defenseman who has shown he can play in this league. And you know what? He's not going to have to be the guy. Right. And that's one of the other reasons why I like it with Keandre Miller coming here to Carolina.
Before we get to Nick Ehlers, just a postscript on Miller, 6'5", 210, and I go back to the series a couple of years ago where the Rangers won in Game 6 in Raleigh. For my money, and the Rangers' blue line was excellent that year with Fox. I believe Fox won the Norris Trophy if it wasn't that year or the year before. But I thought Miller was their best defenseman in that series. I said it at the time, so it's not like something I'm going back and saying. I said it repeatedly throughout that series. I thought Miller was their best defenseman, and that year he was paired with Jacob Trouba. We all know how popular Jacob Trouba was as a player here in Raleigh. But I love it, and I also think that I don't believe Alexander Nikishin's going to start the season playing in Carolina's top 4. I think he's going to play more of a third pair to begin this year, and we'll see if he grows into a top 4 defenseman. And this gives Miller the chance to be on a second pair and maybe a shutdown pair with either Sean Walker or Jalen Chatfield.
Yeah, and I think you got to let it play out, but I think ideally that's where you'll see this head, where you're going to see, I would imagine Jalen Chatfield would be the guy that you could say, all right, we're going to put these two guys together. The way they skate, there's your shutdown pairing. But I loved how Sean Walker played last year. I know that everybody gets caught up in numbers, and he didn't put up offensive numbers, but the way he played, the way he skates, that could be a really good pairing if that's how Rod Brindamore and Tim Gleason want to go. And the other thing for Miller, where I'll agree with you, and I think this is why the Rangers kind of lost their patience and the Ranger fans did. They saw that 2 years ago. And you know anything, Adam, if you have one good season, you're then supposed to be better the next and then the next after that. And Miller kind of plateaued and in some people's thoughts maybe even dipped. So you're getting a player that I think can go back to where he was and start to climb up the charts again. I think it's really good. And again, you don't have to, if you want to play him with Jacob Slavin and somebody's got to play their offside because they're both lefties, I think that you can find out who's comfortable doing that. But there are a lot of options that you can plug in and play with Keandre Miller that I think you'll get the best out of him, at least in Raleigh. You know, that's the hope for it. But I'm with you. I've seen that he can be a guy who takes over a series or can have a big impact in a game, and that's what the Canes are banking on now.
Yeah, let's make a list of all the Rangers who played well last year. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Wow, I'm surprised it took that long.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, other than Artemi Panarin, I'm not sure that we would include anybody on that list. To Nick Ehlers, who comes in, and look, he's I know when people look at the raw numbers, they don't see any 70-point seasons. They don't see any 30-goal seasons. But this guy at 5-on-5 was one of the best, most efficient scorers in the league and has been over the last several years. He's just not really played more than 15 or 15 and a half minutes a game in a while. And he's had a little trouble staying healthy. But what do you like about his fit with Carolina?
This is going to be what you were just talking about, hinting at the minutes played, the opportunity to play more minutes in Carolina and play alongside. And you know, everybody wants to know what the lineup is going to look like here today on July 17th. Right. And good luck if we nail this, Adam. We got to start playing Powerball or something. But you know, the obvious thing right now is to say that you put Ehlers on a line with Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis, and you let them come together. What I like about Ehlers is he is consistent. And yeah, you're right. There's no 70-point seasons. There's no 30-goal seasons, but he is 24, 26, 25, 20. He is scoring 20-plus goals a year. And as mentioned, he's not getting 20 minutes a night to do that. He was not featured on the power play for the Winnipeg Jets. And he can skate, and he can be a player who, the way that the Canes want to play, he can be effective. Now, one of the knocks is he would go off script in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And that's and you and I both know Rod Brindamore very well. Rod is not one who truly loves going off script, but the one thing that people need to pay attention to with the Canes offensively is if you get back and you play defense and you're where you're supposed to be defensively, you're allowed to freelance offensively in the Canes system and do what you need to do, as long as you put yourself back in the right position. And the way that Ehlers can skate, he's not big, but he's 6 foot. You know, he's not 5'9".
Right.
He's 6 foot, about listed at 180. But his skating ability, and if you haven't noticed, the Canes love guys who can skate. And Ehlers is one of these guys who can carry the puck in. You don't have to chip it and go in all by yourself. So he brings that element to the Canes lineup and roster with whatever line he's going to play. So do I all of a sudden say Nick Ehlers is going to score 100 points this year and go 50-50? No, but this team needed to add pop. And the other thing that I like about it is, and you get asked about it and I get asked about it before July 1st, all of the guys who might be unrestricted free agents, I always say, let's get to July 1st and see who gets there. When it all shook out, when Florida signed everybody else and Mitch Marner, let's just face it, he found his way to sign with Vegas, but forced Vegas to give up Nick Waugh to go to Toronto for him to go there. The number one offensive player who was left on the board was Nick Ehlers, and he wanted to come to Carolina.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of foot dragging, but that's the agent wanting to see what's out there and what are the deals he can get. But the Canes have the cap space, the way they want to play, the way he plays, it fits. And I think that that's the encouraging thing. And Now you've got a line that you look at where everybody on that line, you pencil them in, and that should be 80 goals minimum from that line if it is going to be Aho, Jarvis, and Ehlers.
Mike Maniscalco is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, Carolina Hurricanes play-by-play man. All right, before I get to, I want to ask you a baseball question because you and I are big baseball fans as well. But I know I was looking at the schedule. We have Colorado coming in on January 3rd, followed by Dallas. The next home game, although there's a road trip, I think, to New Jersey in between. Real quick, I'll work backwards. Will Mikko Rantanen be received better than Erik Haula?
No, he will not. I think that there are a lot of Canes fans who are waiting for the welcome back Mikko game. I don't know what the video is going to be. It might be much like the touching Alexander Semin tribute that was on the board when he went to Montreal. I think that there are going to be a lot of fans there who are going to be ready to let Mikko Rantanen know that he made a mistake by not wanting to stay here in Raleigh. But, Rod has talked about it. I'll say it too. There was nothing behind the scenes. It wasn't like he was a malcontent in the locker room. He was great. Honestly, I know you talked to him a few times in his brief appearances here, but he was great to deal with from my perspective. And you know what? It didn't work out, and the Canes took what could have been a big negative, and I think they walked away with a positive from everything that could have transpired from Rantanen and saying, look, I don't think I'm going to sign here, and if he can get something, let's go from there. And there's always two sides to every story. But Erik Haula, by the way, Erik Haula, good news for Canes fans. Carolina's going to play Nashville in the Stanley Cup final because Erik Haula has to be eliminated from the playoffs every year by the Carolina Hurricanes.
That's exactly what I thought immediately. Like, go Predators. Hurricanes, Predators, Stanley Cup Finals, and we know the outcome. Before I ask you about baseball, because the Colorado game, we could have 3 videos. I certainly think that from the head coach, he'd probably produce the Brent Burns video himself.
Yes.
We'll have a video for Natchez. We can get all of his last-second goals or overtime heroics. And I had an idea for the Jack Drury video. It's just a montage of all the goals that were pulled back after being ruled out for goaltender interference.
Well, one, I don't know if the NHL allows a 6-minute video to be played in tribute then for Jack Drury. And hey, by the way, nothing worse than saying a guy scores and it's like a really good call, and then you're like, oh, let's go to the review. They're looking at this one. But yeah, there will be 3 tributes, and I'm glad you brought up Brent Burns too, because just what a fantastic pro he is, and his impact on this team is going to be one that's far from what he did on the ice, Adam. It's how he carried himself and set the example of, he was regimented. This was his routine. This is what he did. And to be able to play the game and play significant minutes the way that he played at 40 years old in the NHL, but to keep himself in that shape to do it. There are guys in that locker room who are going to benefit from that for the entirety of their careers, who were around Brent for his tenure here with the Carolina Hurricanes.
All right, now to baseball for Mike Maniscalco. I assume you watched at least some of the All-Star game. I did. We had a couple of calls. They used an audit. They had a challenge system for balls and strikes. And we had 2 calls overturned. One, a pitcher thought it was a strike. It was called a ball. Turned out to be strike 3. That'll mess up your play-by-play call, by the way. And then there was a batter who thought it was a ball. It was called a strike, and the batter was right. I saw 2 calls overturned. Your thoughts on a robo-ump behind home plate?
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not. Now, don't get me wrong. I will always have that nightmare flashback of Eric Gregg behind the plate for the Marlins-Braves playoff series where, the ball was in the other batter's box and he's ringing up Atlanta Braves for the time. And I it's one of those things where you're like, okay, but, for me, it's one of those things where, the strike zone for players are different. And I don't know if you can get the exact, and look, there are guys who are way smarter than me, Adam, who can triangulate camera angles and say it's going to be like this, but my strike zone is different than your strike zone. It'd be different from Victoria's strike zone. So, to have a robo-ump to it, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be, for me, really awkward if we get a playoff game with a robo-ump and a guy has an awesome at-bat, works a walk on a borderline pitch, and then he gets rung out, and that's what ends the game on a review. Balls and strikes are one of those things to me where, you don't argue them. It's, the ump has got to live with it afterwards, but you don't argue them. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think that it's one of these things where it's delaying the game that much.
Right.
But
it was fast.
At the same, yeah. It's quick. That's the one positive I have to say for it. But I mean, I just live with. We want the calls to be right. But then if we're going to do this, then don't have umps at all. Just have every play be reviewed, and you go from there. So I mean that's. I don't want to be too old school on it, but I just think it's one of those things where I can see down the line there can be a flaw with the system, and somebody's going to get upset with it somewhere. But nothing's perfect. But baseball for me has worked my entire lifetime with a guy behind the plate calling balls and strikes, and nobody's really. You can, like I said, the Eric Gregg game is the one that I can count. And yes,
everybody thinks about that, right?
Yes, there's Laz Diaz and Angel Hernandez, and there's always one guy whose strike zone sucks, depending on if you're the pitcher or the hitter. But I just kind of live with it. There's certain sports where I think you can do more with review, or you can actually take certain things that are gray areas and kind of make them better. Hint, National Hockey League with what I'm talking at,
yeah.
But. For baseball, I don't know. I've just always I've lived with the balls and strikes, and 95% of the time they're right. It's just the 5% when they're wrong. It's truly noticeable.
So here's the thing, and so you and I agree completely on this, and I just boil it down to this. And I get that we want to get everything right all the time, and I understand that, and I'm not even arguing against that. My view of pitching is that pitching is artistry. Not like I've heard somebody talk about this in terms of a different sport. It's poetry, not math. In my opinion, pitching is poetry, not math. There is interpretation. It's about deception. So I'm not trying to just fool the batter. Maybe I'm trying to fool the umpire too.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't want to lose that with pitching. You would lose it with challenges for balls and strikes. But we're going to get there. Major League Baseball, once you've shown fans that technology, we're getting it, but I'm not in favor of it.
Well, there's one other thing, too, because we like to talk about the pitcher. As somebody who played the position of catcher, now not very well and not at a super high level.
Sure.
But, part of when you talk about the artistry is framing pitcher,
yep.
Framing pitches as a catcher. How far out can I move where you're going to give my pitcher, Greg Maddux, he's going to pitch here. How far out are you going to let me go and go with that? And then, if that's the case, catchers, all you're going to have to do now from here on out is worry about throwing down to second base. And a big part of a catcher's job is framing pitches
yep.
and, putting things in that right perspective. So, yeah, I think you're taking a lot of little subtle things out of the game that, yeah, I know people are rolling their eyes or saying it's boring, but it's part of the game.
It is.
And
I agree.
I don't like taking certain things out of the game that are, especially for certain positions that were needed. I mean, how many guys we can talk here for 7 hours about great catchers who are good at framing pitches and helping their starter or their reliever get a call when they need to.
That's how I used to justify Mike Piazza as a catcher. He was great at framing. Couldn't do anything else. Yeah. Couldn't throw, couldn't catch, but he could frame a pitch. So, hey, he was at least good at that while he was hitting .315 or so and making a mockery of just playing a position. Mike Maniscalco, I appreciate your time, sir. I will call on you again soon, I'm sure.
I will be around, Adam. Thank you.
You got it, man. Take care. Mike Maniscalco here on the Adam Gold Show. See? Fun for me. I indulged myself.
I love Mike.
Yeah, it was fun. Always good. When I texted him yesterday, I'm like, I'm going to throw baseball at you.
I know.
And he was like, oh, good.
Look, we didn't even bring up hot dogs or anything.
Yeah, well, we've done that before.
We
did that before with Mike. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll give you an update on what's going on at Royal Portrush. Which is interesting, I think, for American golf. Do that next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Each year, 3.6 million people in the U.S. delay or skip medical care altogether simply because they can't get to a healthcare provider. From long distances to unreliable public transit to the cost of a tank of gas, it all adds up. LaPonda Edmondson, president of the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation, joins me to talk about how their social impact program is making a difference in Robeson County.
We're investing $900,000 over the course of 3 years in Robeson County. Our aim there is to be able to support these projects that address transportation as a social driver of health.
You can learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Hello, I'm Steve Troxler, North Carolina Commissioner of Agriculture. Farming's tough, but you're not alone. That's why the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute offers the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. Long hours, difficult decisions, and unexpected challenges can add up. Whether you need to talk to a counselor who understands farming, or help with finances, legal questions, or farm safety, call 844-325-3276. That's 844-325-3276, the North Carolina Farm Helpline, a free 24/7 resource for the agriculture community. 844-325-3276, because no one should face farm life alone.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Why choose a family physician? Because they provide healthcare expertise for the entire family, care for acute and chronic disease, treat all ages, and most importantly, keep you healthy. In fact, adults with a family physician have lower healthcare costs, better health outcomes, and are hospitalized less frequently. Family physicians, your trusted healthcare advisor for you and your family for life. Brought to you by the NC Academy of Family Physicians.
Experience a day of discovery at the world's largest natural habitat zoo located in Asheboro. North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens offers miles of shaded pathways, engaging activities and nature trails, and award-winning educational programming for all ages. Encounter wild animals, flourishing plants, and extraordinary beauty as you explore the ancient Uwharrie Mountains in the heart of North Carolina. Every visit helps save wildlife and wild places. Plan an unforgettable journey at nczoo.org.
North Carolina ranks second in the nation in potential agricultural land lost by the year 2040. The NC Forever Farms program supports the preservation of family farms through permanent agricultural conservation easements and has received a record number of applications for 3 straight years. Landowners interested in preserving their working farm through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services can learn more by visiting ncadfp.org.
This is Adam Gold.
I told Tim, who does the afternoon show, I said, I'm about to turn this game around. We need Cheez-Its. So I went to go get magical Lucky Cheez-Its, and guess what? Boom. Period 2, tied it up. And then at the end of the game, I still had like 8 Cheez-Its in the cup left, and I said, Lucky Cheez-Its.
There you go.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Before we rewind, I was having a very European feel to what were my expectations for the Open Championship. All the players that basically, really all the players I backed were Europeans. But Harris English, the pride of the University of Georgia, has the lead outright right now. He is 5 under par, although he went long on the 13th green, the par 3, and has chipped to about 15 feet. He has that left for par. He is 5 under par through 12, solo first. And I'm not even going to bore you with all the names who are -4, but one of them you might know, Matt Fitzpatrick, who won the U.S. Open in 22, I believe, at Brookline. So Fitzpatrick is in there. Of course, he's an Englishman, so that would speak to my feel about a European-style winner. And then at -3, a bunch of guys. Again, not sure you know all of them, so I'll give you the one I think you do know, Tyrrell Hatton, who has been in contention at majors before. He actually was in contention at Oakmont, did not win. Obviously, J.J. Spawn won, but Hatton is 3 under par, just made a pretty nice par putt to stay at 3 under with 2 holes left to play. Ricky Fowler's at 2 under. Lee Westwood is at 2 under. Brian Harmon, who won the Open Championship 2 years ago at Royal Liverpool, he is at 2 under as well. Lucas Glover just bogeyed to go to 2 under. Phil Mickelson, 1 under par. Look at Phil. Look at old man Lefty getting it done. Shane Lowry, who won here in 2019, is 1 under par. John Rahm was, I wouldn't say he had a tough start, but he missed a very, very makeable birdie putt on 1. And I thought he was kind of there for the first 6 or 7 holes, but got it in at 1 under par as well. And there's a lot of, look at Justin Leonard, who won the Open at Troon in 97. Justin Leonard is 1 under par with 1 hole left to play. Rory McIlroy is at 1 under par and is in a fairway bunker on the 14th hole. So there's a lot of guys who are, it's going to be a very bunched up leaderboard. My guess is the cut tomorrow will end up being around +4, maybe +3, just guessing. All right, let's rewind. We'll start with our friend Will Palaszczuk, who's the voice of Charlotte FC, but also covers the Hornets on the radio and the Panthers as well. Let's deal with some Panthers stuff. About a week ago, we played a clip from Chris Canty, ESPN's unsportsmanlike on the radio, about his feeling that maybe the Panthers would be the team to beat in the NFC South. And while I believe it's a little bit of a stretch, I don't think it's that far-fetched. And I asked Will's thoughts on that.
I think the way that they currently project, their ceiling is second in that division. I still think that Tampa can take care of business, provided they have the same kind of year that they've had representative to themselves. Baker Mayfield continues to be what he is, and they continue to be prolific offensively and solid defensively. I think what would have to happen is that Tampa would have to backslide, and almost everything, if not everything, would have to go right for Carolina. You'd have to see a full extrapolation of the 17-game schedule from what we saw in the second half from Bryce Young. The defense will have to go from very, very bad a year ago to even better than average, which, again, I think we're all kind of hoping that it just maybe sits around and peters out at average. And also, I think, too, Dave Canales has got to show a demonstrated commitment to the run as opposed to just saying it in off-season press conferences. We have to see the actions behind that. He said last year they wanted to be a ground-and-pound team, and yet he would abandon the run if the lead got to double digits. So I understand that certain times in game situations things might dictate to be a little bit differently, but you've got a top 10 running back in Chuba Hubbard right now, and you have to use him. And he utilized one of your best assets, and you've got a great spell back in Rico Dowdle to make sure that you don't get necessarily a drop-off when he has to come off of the field. So I think leaning on that run game, getting that defense to a more, again, average level, and Bryce Young being the kind of guy we saw during the latter half of the season, all those things put together, can they win the division? Yes. I think other things that maybe are beyond their control have to happen to make that happen. But I think that even if they get and take care of their own business with the schedule they have, they have what it takes to be at least the second best team in this division, which is a magnificent step forward given where they've been over the last couple of years.
All right, so I want to appreciate Will Palaszczuk coming in. Let me play one more clip from Will, and then I want to address a couple of Panthers things, because I do think that they do kind of have a chance, but I think it's really more about the NFC South than it is about the Panthers necessarily being all that good. I think the Panthers are at best average. All right, now to the other element that we talked about with the Panthers, and that is Bryce Young, because I've talked about this before. He was really good at the end of the season, but I wonder just how much value there is in being really good in games where the outcome doesn't matter. We talked about it.
What I will say about this is that you saw a much more confident version of him after he came back off the benching for Andy Dalton. And I think that was something that all he needed. I mean, any player in any sport, you give them a spring of confidence and they're going to show you their best self if they, again, have the kind of representative ability to do so. And he was drafted number 1 overall for a reason. It was not because he didn't have bona fides and he didn't have ability relative to his peers in the collegiate game. Were there measurables that were maybe somewhat questionable? Yes. He's a shorter than normal quarterback, and you have to do things to overcome that. I think they tweaked the passing lanes a little bit for him in terms of what Dave Canales had, because he's worked with, more diminutive quarterbacks before, like, Baker and such. So it's not as if this is something that was completely unfounded. I think, again, a lot of it was a feeling out process for the quarterback, for the head coach, and also for his offensive teammates as well. And the thing that I think is different from this year to last year that's enhanced is that they now have a wide receiver room that is the best wide receiver room the Panthers have had in a very long time. And that's going to be the toughest cut on this football team.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be somebody who is a legitimate wide receiver who could start anywhere else in the league that won't find their way onto this roster for the Carolina Panthers. And that's something that I think is incredibly prescient from Bryce Young's perspective. Add in the fact that the offensive line was miles better in 2024 than it was in 2023. So from that perspective, you have those things working for him. Again, like you said, as long as Dave Canales puts his play sheet where his mouth is, he actually can maybe have a balanced offensive attack that has a run game to help him out. And also, if he makes enough of those throws like he made during the second half of the season, he can rise up to a point where we're thinking of him now as somebody who is not just a solid guy, but somebody who is in an extension-eligible season, someone you can count for the Panthers long-term.
All right. Now, Will brought it up, 2 things in each clip. One thing in each clip that I think to me are the same, because we're talking about Dave Canales and play calling. Remember, I felt triggered last year. I hated to bring up Matt Rule, but the Matt Rule era for me was one head-scratching comment/decision after another. And Dave Canales is better than Matt Rule, but he was similar in this regard. Matt Rule kept talking about ground and pound. We're going to, we're play to our identity, but he kept dropping back and throwing the ball.
Exactly.
I'm like, dude, what are we doing?
Just like he said we're going to have a 7-year plan and didn't follow it.
Well, he didn't.
He didn't make it 7.
He
thankfully.
Made it two plus games. And, so that was... Yeah, he didn't get a chance. We were also not on course for anything, but that's another story altogether. That's the reason why he didn't get the 7 years. But you can't do one thing and then say we have no business doing that when it was your decision to do that in the first place. And I felt, and I was very critical of Dave Canales last year. We got midway through the season, even a little bit later on, and I was still not convinced. And I'm not 100% convinced that Dave Canales is ultimately the guy, but he certainly looked different to me at the end of the year than he was for the first, say, 65, 70% of it. That I thought that they did everything to make Bryce Young's job more difficult. And even when he came back, when Bryce came back and had to play, that they did things that were counterproductive to Bryce. Because it wasn't even a joke. I hated feeling this way, but to me it felt as though Canales wasn't a believer in Bryce Young and wanted to prove that Young could not play. That's the way it looked to me. He wouldn't be the first person, by the way, to have come into a situation with a second-year quarterback who struggled in year one, who wasn't interested in that quarterback being his responsibility, that was looking to start anew with another quarterback. That happened, by the way, with, if I'm not mistaken, Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona. I thought Kingsbury came in and drafted Kyler Murray, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Josh Rosen was bad and proved to be bad, so maybe that's a bad example for Bryce Young. But it looked to me early as though Canales was not interested at all in Bryce Young. At the end of the season, though, Young looked like a better quarterback, and at the same time, Canales looked like a much better coach for him. So, let's see how it starts. I'm looking forward to this, to how the season begins. I wanted to do more things, and I had Victoria do extra work, and we're going to not have time. So let me ask you this question. I brought this up earlier at the beginning of the seventh inning stretch because we had an incident at a Coldplay concert.
I know, and
right?
It's spreading like wildfire.
It is. This is a massive story that I don't care about, but I find it funny. The CEO of a company that I don't know the name of the company. I don't know what the company does. I don't know the CEO. I don't care. Was apparently spotted at a Coldplay concert with somebody who was not Mrs. CEO of this company. And they were clearly on a date, embraced, maybe even in love. I don't know. So it went on the Jumbotron and like this, whatever, it wasn't a kiss cam, but they were showing a picture of the crowd. And so she turns around, he ducks, too late. Yep. We've all seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So FanDuel's Twitter feed has simply tweeted out this question.
Uh-oh.
And I need you to answer it, Victoria.
Okay.
You are the only qualified person to answer this question here. Is Coldplay even good? Yes, minus 150. No, plus 120.
Yeah, I'm a knower on
yeah,
that
see,
one.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm just like, I don't get it.
Like there's like one song, maybe Viva something. That's like, it's okay.
I don't, but people love them, and that's okay.
Yeah, and
that's okay. Not everybody likes everything.
Yeah.
How was your you went to a concert yesterday,
it was so
right?
fun yesterday. Yes,
right.
I was worried. I thought the rain was gonna, cause some situations, but it did not. Thank you. So yeah, it was good. Now it was hot though, of course.
Oh, so it was an outdoor concert.
Yeah, it was a coastal.
Yes, that's good. Careful. Anyway, I just thought it was funny that FanDuel would put that up for everybody to vote on. Voted no. Anyway, have a great Thursday, everybody. Roundtable tomorrow. We'll have some fun. Also, Will Brinson will join us. Thank you, Victoria. Bye.
From the heels
touchdown, Carolina,
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here for my friends at X Golf in Cary. Date night blahs, you were thinking about dinner and a movie? Nah. X Golf, great atmosphere, superb bar menu, incredible staff, a really cool vibe, and the best golf simulator in North Carolina. Take date night to a whole new level. And on top of that, I'm going to hook you up. Buy one, get one free special. Just mention me, Gold. I'll turn your 1 hour into 2. X Golf in Cary, the home of premier indoor golf in North Carolina.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Panthers training camp is almost here, and it's finally time, Panthers fans. Go all out to win. The years prior to this, it's about draft picks. It's about playing the younger guys, making sure they get their experience, maybe even above winning games. But this year, all of that changes.